exactly why I chose to open with this Aga. Welcome to the stream, guys. Hope you're doing well. And for your information, if you ever do want to, let me get the nice camera. Oh, look at that for a camera. Oh, it's lovely. If you ever do want to see the older, or I should move the mic down a little. There we go. The older login screens. Just change the date on your computer. Actually, I kind of want to see if the End of Dragons one is in the game, but we'll wait. We'll wait a few minutes. If you change the game, or the computer date to the date in time in whatever expansion you want, you will get that specific login screen. Of course, it will mess stuff up in your computer for a bit, but what can you do? Hey, Tina, hey, Aga, welcome to the stream, guys. Let's bring up this. How am I going to do this now? I want to have this somewhere where... Oh, God. No room. Theater mode. How do I do this now? Display cap. There we go. So, yeah. I paused this at the Winds of Change part.
Shiro summoned spirits from the mist
So,
to assault the hero
I'm not sure.
and
It seems to be just a
Kunavan's
full
celestial
recap of the
powers
story
allowed
here.
them to call forth Archimors and Saint Victor in retaliation. At last, good triumphed, and the hero struck the final blow.
I don't know if I should be watching this yet.
As Shiro lay dying, the
Yeah, this is all
Oracle
Winds of
Mist
Change
appeared,
here.
sealing his body in jade.
So, for now, I think we'll just leave this as sort of background sort of information, I guess. I just don't know really where to go. It's exciting. Also, the camera's now blocking chat. That's fantastic. So many people in Lion's Arch, just tons of time. Is there actually? Let's go have a look at Lion's Arch.
Guild Wars Beyond. Winds of Change was the chapter continuing the faction storyline and told the story of a new ministry that was becoming increasingly prominent.
Okay, they're starting to get into the new stuff here in about a minute.
Even
Nice.
with Shiro dead for realsies this time.
Hey,
and
Drakam.
Canthans over foreigners. The ministry was first led by
Welcome to
Minister
the stream.
Reiko Murakami, who had formerly been a member of the Ministry of Flame. Minister Reiko was eventually assassinated
Top
by
of the
her
morning,
niece,
dear laddies.
Hirachi,
My
the
name
hero
is
of Tyria,
Quando
who
Games.
believed
I don't
the
see any
ministry had
tags. I
become a
must be in
threat to those
the
that did not fit their ideal
overflow
of a
map.
purified Cantha.
Which is a shame.
Yuko
I
hoped
feel
to
like
lead
it's going to
Reiko
be
and free her
starting
brother Ashu from
over
the ministry.
in...
However, Ashu decided to take control of the
Oh, yeah,
Ministry
the
of
north
Purity
up here.
himself. He pledged to show the
So,
people of
that's
Cantha
where
the
I'm gonna
correct
chill out.
path to walk without repeating Reiko's mistakes. Yeah, okay,
First
Ashu,
story
you do
in
that.
general.
Emperor Kisu
Now,
would rule
story
until
of
his
Camp.
passing
Yeah,
in 1127 AD.
that's what I was getting
In
the
the wake
impression
his
of. I don't
death,
think there's going to
Emperor
be the
Usoku
trailer
took a
till
firm
probably about
hold
half
of
an
the
hour or so,
empire.
I would say.
Usoku aggressively
How's the camera
shut
looking, by the
Cantha's
way?
military.
The light
Luxons
appears
and
annoying.
Kurziks had renounced being vassals
But if
of
I
the
don't have
empire,
the
but
light,
Usoku
I'm so
used
dark.
his military might to force them to bend the knee
You can
once
barely
more.
see me.
Usoku then began a campaign to rid Cantha of non-humans, which was supported by
Oh
none
yeah,
other
that's
than
really...
the Ministry
oh,
of Purity. Yeah, way to go, Ashu. You really turned that ministry around.
I really
huh?
hope that they bring this
Those
up, that
Canthans who did not
Tengu...
agree
I mean,
with
it
the
seems like
Emperor's
Tengu are
dictates were given
everywhere
no
after
choice
watching
but to
the
leave
map
their
trailers
homeland,
last night.
seeking
I keep
refuge
looking
and
at the
sanctuary
webcam
in
rather than the
Alona
camera
and
camera.
Tyria.
So I don't
Usoku
know
became
if
the last Canthan emperor to
there's
going
going to be
by
still
name in mainland Tyria. In 1219
going to be
AD,
that
the
sort
Elder
of
Dragon
Winds of
Zaitan
Change
brought
sort
the
of
sunken
stuff.
city of Or back to the
Lighting's a
surface,
little off.
sending
Yeah,
a tsunami
I know.
crashing against Cantha's shores and cutting the
I didn't
continent
think
off
about that.
completely from the mainland.
I didn't get
Facing
my...
persecution
This lamp's
in their
broken,
homeland
right?
of Cantha,
Yeah,
the
that
group of
lamp's
Tengu
broken.
dared to risk pushing through the risen forces to make a break for the continent of
I should have been
Tyria.
better prepared.
They were led
but-
by a descendant of Talon Silverwing and went on
I got
and found the
distracted because I
Dominion
got a
of
free
Winds.
coffee
Let's
from
go
my
ahead
brother
and
when I
talk
was
a little
getting
more
the
about
camera.
some recent
Oh my
history.
god.
The current state of affairs in Cantha are a mystery to all but those living on the isolated island. However, several
Have another one.
figures we've encountered in the story of Guild Wars 2 have connections to Cantha. Marjorie Delacqua was born to a working-class family of Canthan descent
Madness.
living in East Reach. Her parents inherited Canthan items from her grandparents. But
Thanks,
Casimir
Tina.
and Marjorie
Welcome.
discovered the lands
You'll
of
be able
John's
to
ancestors
download
will be
End of
something
Dragons
you'll
in
have to
about
discover for yourself in
65
End of
minutes.
Dragons.
That makes sense.
Next
That's
up,
when
the
it launches.
Blades, a multiracial group of sky pirates featured in Living Season 1.
Oh,
They
yes. The
commandeered
Aether Blades
several
are
packed
back. I forgot
airships
about
and
that.
waged war from the
Where's our
skies
tea
for
chair?
Scarlet Briar. Captain Maitrin was their leader. Responsible for assassinating Captain Theo Ashford
Have a
during
cup of
Scarlet's
tea
War
as we
to
wait.
weaken Lion's
So yeah, I
Arch.
imagine...
Mai was captured
I would have
after
thought it'd be
Lion
kind of
got
quarter
raped, but
to
the
or
Aether
so,
Blades
but
eventually freed her from captivity and fled into the edge of the mists.
who knows?
Like Marjorie Delacqua, Mai
I
Trin
think,
is
though,
of Canthan descent.
Delacqua?
Mai
Delacqua.
Trin's current first mate
Is it
is
not?
an Asura named Anka. Pre-Aether Blades, Anka worked with Goric at the Thamanova
Who is
power reactor.
Anka?
Situated on a ley line
This is
between
Anka
the
here.
researchers at the
The
facility
mad
were
one with the two
particularly
different eyes.
interested in
Let's get this
draconic
alike.
energy. What exactly the Aether Blades have been up to while lurking
Hey,
in the
funny
mists
chicken.
is unknown,
Here's me trying to
but
dodge spoilers.
something
Yeah,
prompted them to make their
I'm
move.
giving up now
And,
because
you
it's
know,
launch
crashed into their
day.
airships into some
Hope you're doing well
innocent
today,
guy's
though.
fishing spot.
I did watch
Lastly,
the
we
map
have
trailers
the
last night.
Zephyrites. a nomadic group that's mainly composed
So
of
far,
Cantha
they're
and
just
Delonian
sort of going
humans.
over the basics
In
of the
recent
story.
years, they've been an active part of the
She did
Festival
say
of Four
Delacroix,
Winds.
weirdly.
Zephyrites inherited the legacy of
Ah,
the
hey,
only
Dracan.
dragon in history to have allied herself with the mortal races before.
I'm gonna go up on
Queen.
top of the
Her
octopus.
mother,
That's where I like to
Blix.
chill.
The Zephyrites
No, but
traveled
everyone's
to
chilling over
Cantha
here.
and
That's
traded with
silly.
the
That's
locals there
silly.
as recently as 7 years ago. They claim that Cantha has
lot of
become one
players.
of their most culturally colorful ports of call. So now that we've covered Cantha's past entirely, what about Cantha's future?
Oh.
Yusoku may be the last descendant of Kaineng Ta to be spoken of in Tyria, but not for long.
Throne room
An
is very
empress
green.
Now sits upon the throne,
It's a
bearing
shame
the
they don't
weight
have
of
higher quality
responsibility
bitrate
for
on their
all
promotional
life within the
stuff.
empire. The empress's
I
reign
mean,
is
I guess
supported
it's a
by
bit of
her
YouTube
half-sister
compression
Jade.
and such, but it is
She
a bit
works
annoying.
to turn misfortune into fortune by building a future for Cantha on the back of dragon-infused jade. Even
Yes.
before the development of Jade Tech, the magic of dragons has played a pivotal role in shaping Cantha. According to human legend, dragons of all
I wonder if
shapes,
this
sizes,
is live.
and origin have called the continent home for thousands of years.
I'd imagine not.
From Kunavang, the salt
I
spray
imagine she's
dragon, to
pre-recorded.
Talmu, the celestial dragon.
Curious name.
Dragonkind
Timey
has become
recap
the stuff
video.
of
Is
both
it?
reality and myth.
I'm about
to
2
the
minutes
people of
behind.
Cantha.
3 minutes behind.
And while Cantha
So I
is rich
am.
with legends, none are greater than those we ourselves have inspired. Some of you may have started out as the hero of Tyria.
This is
Maybe
mad.
you've only
Let me
ever
make
been
sure my
a
inventory is
commander,
clear.
but whenever
Let
your
me
journey
clear up
began,
my
we are all
inventory.
about
It's
to
very
set
messy.
foot
I have
on
20
Canyon soil
things
for
in
the
my
first
inventory.
time
Now
in
50.
15 years. This
Here we go.
is the future of Guild Wars. The
Oh,
future
the
of
future
Elder
of
Dragons.
Guild Wars.
Your future ready to unfold.
Right.
Are
Inventory.
you ready, champions, to
Oh,
face
I
the
am.
end of dragons?
Yes, I am. This sounds important. The future of Cantha is now. Should I just skip ahead to the live shot? I should.
Thank
I
you
might
all
should.
so much for listening. Again, I'm Rookery, aka Rook, an ArenaNet partner. You can find me on Twitch and YouTube at ROOKURI, or on Twitter at Rookery_.
This is
Let's
the
see
trailer
what
we
the
know
future of
already.
Guild Wars 2 holds, and I hope you enjoy every single second of your
So we'll
adventures
skip
in
to the end of this
Dragons.
trailer when she's
I'll
finished
see
her
you all
outro.
in Cantha.
There's our outro done. We're now a minute behind. Now is the real event. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's Ruby. Here we go. This broadcast is pre-recorded remotely to allow the Guild Wars 2 team focus to launch preparations as ensure employee safety. We'll see you in Cantha soon. Terms and conditions apply. Batteries sold separately. Ooh. Let's full screen this. I love that shot, and oh yeah, this is all the map trailer recut. That's new. To me, anyway. Oh, here we go. Exciting.
Hi, Tyria.
Hello.
Happy End of Dragons launch day.
Thank
I'm
you.
your host, Ruby, and I am so excited to be here with you today.
Good stuff.
It is almost time. Very
So
soon,
good. I can't
the
wait to get a
gates of
Griffin out
Cantha
there.
will open once
I
again.
really can't
We're
wait.
very close to the launch of Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons.
Pop
This
this
next
over here.
trailer will help set the scene and kick off your journey.
Ooh.
So sit back, relax, and welcome to Cantha.
Here we go. Oh, it's this trailer again. We've seen this trailer.
They'll plunge
Okay,
Tyria
we're now
into
live.
war.
Hey Emperor, just got it, what did I miss? Faffing about with the new camera. There was a recap of the full story that I kind of skipped most of, but it was very well read, apart from a few weird dialogues. I got a new camera. I can do this, so. Does that? Oh, it does, yeah. Now I've missed, I don't know where the zoom level should be now. Oh god. Mind focus?
Everything Dragon's Watch has fought for.
Shouldn't have messed with it, I had it set up.
All comes down to this.
Mind focus?
The
Focus.
secrets of Cantha. The secrets
Kind of
of
here,
the
I need to sit
dragons.
forward a bit. Super zoom, yeah.
We have to uncover
I do have
them
another lens, but it didn't work as well.
before it's too late.
But apparently that one there is the expensive one that I really need to be careful of. Ooh. Right, here we go. That was just the trailer, right?
All
Yeah.
of you in our community have been so dedicated in your support
Here
of
we
our
go.
efforts, and we
I'm
are
kind of
honored
falling off
that
the
you're
bed
here
now.
with us today as we get ready to launch our third expansion.
There's all
I hope
the
you enjoyed our
Arene
pre-show
weapons.
with ArenaNet partner Rook and her faction's history lesson. It is incredible to think that
Hey,
it's
Ayubu.
been 15 years since we first set foot in Cantha
Yeah, oh yeah,
with
I can
the
do
launch
the,
of Guild Wars factions.
the infinite
It's
loop.
even more wonderful to think
I
about
love
how
doing
many
that.
of you
It's so
were with
silly.
us as part of that launch. As
I
we
think
count down the remaining
Yeah, I'm
time
not in
before End of
focus. Where's the
Dragons
focus?
is available to all of you, I'm going to be joined by several of our developer guests from End of Dragons. We're going to share some
This is
development
kind of why I'm also doing
insights
the
and
pre-stream,
more
to try and figure
take you
all this
behind
stuff
the
out.
scenes of End of Dragons.
It might take me a little bit
If you're new
longer
to Guild Wars 2
before
is
we
an
start.
award-winning, critically acclaimed
Oh, no.
MMO that you can play
There's
without
dust
a
on the
subscription
lens,
fee.
too.
The core game is totally free, and you can purchase 3 expansions packed with new adventures,
microfiber.
great stories, and whole worlds to
I
explore.
probably shouldn't, my brother
Head
might
to
kill me.
guildwars2.com now to begin your adventure.
I'll text him first and then I'll mess with that.
To kick us off, we
The
have our lead
story
designer,
and
Andrew Gray.
maps. Here we
Hi,
go.
Ruby. I'm Andrew Gray.
Hello,
I'm
Andrew.
the lead content designer on Guild
I
Wars
remember
2.
you. Yeah.
How does it feel to be going back to Cantha?
You're not in the
It
same room.
is super awesome to go back to Cantha. It's
You're
where
definitely
we
not
left
in the
off
same room.
The end of Guild Wars
You
1
can really
with
tell.
Winds of Change, and so to be able to go back there and see both, you know, what's the same, but then also what has changed.
Sorry
in
if
the
I'm
last,
being distracted.
200
I just want to
years.
make sure I have it
imagine
all
if there was
set
a
up
country that we hadn't had
correctly.
contact
It
with
seems
since
like the
1800s.
camera might be a
There's probably
slightly
a
bit
lot of
behind the
differences there.
audio.
So
I don't know if
there's
that's
gonna be a lot of cool
just
stuff
me
that,
looking at
you
that.
know,
I hope
players
it's
might
not.
expect to see, but then also some stuff that's going to subvert
Oh,
their
that looks so
expectations
cool.
in really exciting ways.
We have a lot of people
Oh,
who were
classic.
there for that launch of Guild Wars Factions and have played Factions, and they are familiar with Cantha.
I am familiar.
But there are also a lot of our community who doesn't necessarily know
There's
Cantha.
holidays for me as well.
What did the
Yeah.
team do to make sure that
Off
the
until
region and
Monday
this
next
expansion
week.
was accessible for those people as well?
Well, the time gap honestly helps a lot. Cantha has changed a lot, so players who
I'm sure it has.
went there in Guild Wars 1 are certainly going to have things where like, oh man, it's that thing, I recognize that. But there's you know,
Hopefully.
a lot of new stuff to discover, so all the players and all the characters are going to be
get the
discovering
background music going.
an exciting new area.
That's a
The
really
different
cool
regions
image as well.
in Guild Wars Factions, going back to Cantha back in the day, were really diverse. What
They
has
were.
the team done to bring that diversity and
I'm
all
really
of those
annoyed that
different
they're getting
things
rid
into
of
Guild
the-
Wars 2?
Can I bring that up?
Factions certainly did us a solid
I don't know
by
if I
being
saved
such a
that
beautiful,
image.
diverse area. The Jade Sea with the sort
Might
of
have
frozen
saved
in
it.
time feel to it, the Echovald Forest with the cathedrals built into the trees, the
I
rolling
save
hills
it?
of Xingzhou, like they're all
No.
still there. But then like when you go to Caning,
Where?
Caning has
Caning?
seen quite a bit
Kainen.
of differences. Like it's a whole new thing. It's unlike anything we have seen in Guild Wars 2 or Guild Wars 1.
End of Dragons has a strong emphasis on replayable content. What's that going to be like in the player
I'm really
experience?
annoyed that
So
we're not
early
going
on
to
in
get to see
development of
classic
End of
kind of here.
Dragons, we're talking
But
about
it
how can we
definitely
get,
does look like,
replayable
as we were saying
content out of
yesterday,
some of
that
our
this
story
has been
instances. And
added
what we
in
landed on
poster,
was,
looks
well,
like
what if
to
we
me.
make
Or
strike
maybe
missions
not
with
when I
them?
haven't
Strike missions, for those
messed
of you
with
who
the
don't
quality,
know,
but
are
I
10-person
feel like that
content
looks
that
added
is
in.
raid-esque, where you go in and you fight a big
So
boss.
that might
It's
be a
mechanically
map.
diverse. It's supposed to be some aspirational content that you kind of work your way up to. So this was beneficial
Time
in
gap helps
multiple
me,
ways.
helps a
One,
lot, only
we
250,
got
60
you know,
years.
4
Yeah.
strike missions out of it for the players who like that sort of 10-man content. But also on top of that, we also got better story encounters out of it, frankly. The story encounters are more mechanically complicated
That's
than
good.
they would have been in a
Ooh,
regular story
infusions
instance.
on
And that's
NPC
beneficial
characters? A
because
drunk
it allows
NPC
you
character
to go
too,
in
it seems.
solo into the story version, learn the basics of these mechanics in a safe area. And then once you master it there, you're able to move on to the strike mission version where you're in a 10-person group. And everything, you know,
That's cool,
certainly
boss.
hits harder there. I can vouch for that. You're probably gonna want some
Hopefully.
healers and everything, but it's still an extension of what
How much
you
will be the
already
max
learned.
teleport now? Ooh,
You're
yeah.
not starting from
Probably gonna
zero.
be
and then from there, once you master that, if you're the
maybe
hardcore
Bloodstone
of the
Fen
hardcore,
to
we'll be adding challenge mode
Jade
later
Sea,
on,
maybe?
which is just absolutely brutal. And you absolutely need healers for that. But you know, for some players, that's what they're after, and we definitely want to deliver that.
Andrew, you've
Okay.
played the End of Dragons story a few times. How did it feel without spoiling anything?
Yes, I have played it many times.
I'm sure
and
you've
I have
played
to
it too,
say,
Ruby.
Every iteration I've played it, I've just been blown away. Like it was good, and then better, and then even better. It's amazing. I'm especially happy with some of the new characters that we meet. Detective Rama is great. The intern Akane.
That
I'm
area,
kind of
Harvest Temple is so
kindred
cool.
spirit to her with her levels of snark, let's just say.
I have the North to Jade
she's
Sea as
great.
well. Yeah,
Honestly,
that'll be
the whole story blows me away. We've been telling the Dragon story for 10 years.
Pricey.
And the End of Dragons finale does not
Vintage
just
Guild
feel
Hall-
like
yeah,
a
I'll do it on
finale
a
to this
stream during
expansion
the week.
pack.
I'm not
The End of
sure,
Dragons
probably
feels
weekend
like
might
the
suit
finale
most
to
people.
The story we've been telling for the last 10
Maybe
years.
Friday or Saturday?
It really does, and I cannot wait for people to see it. What were some of your favorite memories from developing End of Dragons?
Well, for one, I loved seeing the evolution of the siege turtle as it came along. From
That'd be
like,
cool as well, yeah.
It's not even going to be a vehicle to it's a vehicle to now it has jump jets. Like that is just bonkers to me. ArenaNet is always an iterative company. We try things, we elaborate on it, And this is just,
Where's
that's
the
just
trailer,
one
though?
case where like every time I played it, it was just like, oh my god, it's just getting cooler and cooler.
Watching things
That is
improve
good.
and develop, it's just been amazing.
Also, I have to
I'm
say
looking forward
that
to it.
I
Yeah, me
am
too.
a
It's gonna be
super huge
interesting.
fan of the Spectre. I was doing
Spectre
some
is
strike
his
missions
favorite.
with it, and it brings me
Looking
back
forward
to
to getting
monking and
Arborstone. I hope I
GVG in
don't
Guild Wars 1. Like
need
it's
to change
it's
too many
phenomenal.
stats to make it
Awesome.
work well.
It is almost time for End
Yes.
of Dragons. It is almost time to go back to Cantha after the land has been closed for over 200 years to outsiders.
The green screen's
This
now
is
annoying me.
an exciting opportunity for all of us to go back in there and explore what's happened in Cantha in the interim.
Yeah, it's a
With
shame
me
you can't
here to
choose your
talk about
combat
that
style
is
on the turtle.
writer
Maybe
and
they'll
narrative
change
designer
that.
Indigo. Hi.
Hi, I'm
They
Indigo
might change
Bach.
that, I don't
was
know.
a narrative designer and writer on End of Dragons. I helped ground the elite specs and the lore. I helped with fishing. I helped with Jade Bots,
Fishing?
pretty notably.
Fishing
the
needs
Legendary
lore?
Armory, which came out
I
a
guess
little bit
kinda
before,
does.
but we got that all spruced up for the Arene set coming out. But most notably, my favorite contribution to the expansion was I was the principal writer on the new Kaining open world map. I'm so
Kaining,
thrilled, and we've all just been like on the edge of our
Panzer
heels,
Kampfwagen.
waiting to be able to show players
Where,
everything
as a
that we've
turtle
put
skin?
together, and we're so
What's the
excited to
Panzer
finally
Kampf?
be at this day and for everybody to kind of
Cameron,
see
get out
what
of the
we
way.
put together. And this is some of the most proud we've been to date.
You did a lot of work on
Oh,
End of
God.
Dragons. You did some work on Kaining City,
That
too.
Panzer, okay.
What stood out
I wasn't
on
sure
this part
which
of End of
sort of-
Dragons for you?
I'm incredibly passionate about Kaining, and
They
it was
might
one of the
not
first big
do a
projects
tank,
that I had at the studio.
especially with
but just to
current
kind of
global
back
events.
up a little bit too for our new players that
probably
aren't as
wait a while.
familiar with Kaining. Kaining was a location in Guild Wars Factions, the original Guild Wars game, and new Kaining.
It
that
has-
we're
yeah,
gonna
it's been
see in
5
End of
years
Dragons is
in
actually quite different.
September.
When Zaitan rose, one of
4.5
the older
years
dragons in our
since
series,
the last
a massive tidal
expansion.
wave actually wiped out most of the old city. And you can still see some of those ruins today to the north, and you can
Okay.
explore them, and there's some really fun stories that we have to tell with that area.
Okay, cool.
But most of what we see
That's what
today
I
in
was
New
hoping
Kaining
for.
is completely new. It's not only kind of this new hub, it's this culmination of different Canthan cultures. There's the Campins, we have
Hmm. I knew it
the
was a tank,
newly
I just wasn't
integrated
sure
Luxons and Kurziks
exactly
that are a part of that. And we
which
get to
sort
kind
of
of
tank,
see
I
how
should
those
say.
cultures have grown together and changed since Guild Wars Factions. But one of the really cool things about Kaining is it's also a hub of modern technology. And and
Ooh,
I
that
think
was a
Tyria
nice
is going to be
transition.
taken by storm when Cantha opens up because there's nothing quite like it. And as we've talked about in live streams past, Lady June, who is basically the CEO of Junlai Jade, has integrated the city with these modern
CEO.
technologies that are basically a part of the Canthans' everyday lives. There's holo projectors that you can see the holo news on. The Jade Bots allow you to zip line. There's
holo
mass
news.
transit related to technology.
Oh, they can
You
speed
see
up your
it
fishing.
everywhere. It's in their
Cool.
storefronts. There's these sea motifs throughout the entire city with holographic fish and whales that float through. It's incredibly beautiful, but it's a really jarring, unique opportunity that we kind of got to dive into. What would a city
I'm
look
not sure how I
like
feel about
that
the
we could
holograms, to
explore?
be honest.
It's
Guild
kind of
Wars,
hard to put into words, but I think I'm really excited
bleh.
to get in there
Release
and
a
see
bunch
it
of new faces
populated
and
with
hairstyle
players
back
because
to
there's
December.
only so much we can do to make it feel like a real city.
sorry,
and I
we.
feel like the missing piece for me personally
Yeah, they
is
did.
to
There
just
was,
open
what,
the
3 per
floodgates and let the
race
players
except
populate
for
the
humans,
rest
which
of
got
it,
more,
because
I think it was.
they are just as much going to be citizens to this world as anybody else, and that's one thing that I'm really looking forward to.
Something that you just mentioned was the Holo News projectors. That's a thing that we've talked about a little bit in previous live streams, and we've
wonder
seen
if
as we were
the
running around.
Holo
They're so
News
cool.
stuff is gonna
love them.
update live
We've had
throughout
them turned
releases?
off when we were showing End of Dragons in live streams, so we don't spoil them. But we're so close. Let's talk a little bit more about those and
That would be
what
interesting
they
if
are.
they up,
There's
like
these
if, when Living
holographic
World Season 6
projectors that you're
starts,
gonna
if they're
see
starting to
all
like,
over
hey.
Cantha. And what those are is we actually have
Yeah, but that's like a special
news
event. I just mean
reporter,
all the time.
news reporter
All the time might be a
Mireille,
bit
who is one of
annoying.
my favorite
is my
characters
only
that I wrote. She's a
thing.
ton of
I don't know.
fun.
We'll
She
see.
was
I mean,
voiced by Tina
I'm
Wong.
looking forward to
the
seeing
news
them.
is going to be reporting on the events of the Golden Path as we progress in the story. And that's a
Okay.
really exciting opportunity because like we can't express every single aspect of how this nation is reacting, but the news gives us the ability to kind
kinda
of put
do hope that
additional
they push that
anecdotes
forward
we
into Living
otherwise
World
couldn't
Season
show.
6. That'd be
So
really
as you're
cool.
progressing through the story, you're going to notice that the news is going to be updating as we go. So it's going
That's
to be
probably
talking
an
about,
achievement
like,
as well,
what
much
these
like the
visitors in
timing thing.
Cantha are doing,
Go
what
to
X, Y, and Z. I
the
won't go into
news
specifics
after
because
each
there's a
step
lot
of
of
the
spoilers
story.
as soon as you start off the story. But that's one of these really fun reactive ways that we were able to integrate storytelling elements that would be
Another
constant
Tina.
to the open world, but also
Huh?
reflect back to you where you are in the
Where?
story. I think one of the cool things
Did I miss
too
a
about
Tina?
all of the maps is each one stands out so much against the rest. Xingjie is very tranquil. Kaineng is very like bustling and exciting.
Echovaled's
Ekavald is
desolate.
dark and serene and eerie, and then the Jade Sea is the Jade Sea, and I won't get too far into that because that would be a spoiler. But every single map,
Jade Sea is
visually
definitely their
stands apart
final finale
and
map.
thematically stands apart, and we're incredibly
26 people on
proud
Twitch.
of
How
how
many
that
people
all
are on
came
YouTube?
together.
And is there anything you want to say to
3,000
our
on YouTube.
community?
Not bad.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited for you guys to get to play this and experience
to
the
play it.
story that we've put together. We're so incredibly passionate about it, and we're ready to rip your hearts out.
Oh,
because we already
voicing.
ripped our own out, and we just can't wait
Sorry.
to share this all with you.
But
Gonna
rip your hearts
get
out
that
in a
over
fun
here.
way,
In a
good
fun way, not like a bad way.
So I can see, as soon as the patch notes goes live, I want to read through them. That's probably going to be while we're updating the game. Oh, that's Siege of Turtle. That looks cool. Where was that? That's really cool. We're really pushing those Orine weapons. The Siege Turtle.
Another exciting feature coming with End of Dragons is the Siege Turtle mount. Guild Wars 2 has 8 different mounts now, each with unique abilities like
Raptor,
gliding
Springer,
or jumping across
Gamer.
wide gaps in terrain, and all unlocked via gameplay.
Oh yeah, it is 8.
The Siege Turtle is our 9th mount and our first 2-player mount. Abilities like jump jets and
We're gonna
walking
put
across
probably
the
9, I
seafloor
guess,
also
but-
allows the
Ugh.
Siege Turtle to handle all different kinds of terrain. Joining us
I have
next,
to
game
rebind my
designer Nick
keyboard now with
Hernandez.
the Siege
Welcome,
Turtle.
Nick.
Hi,
Oh, is this the
Ruby.
guy?
How you doing today?
No, it sounds like this is the guy who
for
was watching loads of
players who
turtles
are
from
just
the
joining
launch
us
event. He
today,
seemed
why don't you
nice and
talk a
chill.
little bit about who you are and what you do here at ArenaNet?
Sure. So, as Ruby said, my name is Nick Hernandez. I am a content designer. Or
They probably will
a
try
game
to rip out
designer
your
here
heart,
at ArenaNet. I've worked on
We
a few
changed the skin.
different
Yeah,
things.
I'm
The expansion
curious as to how
primarily
expensive
being
it's
Jade
going to be
Bots.
to
I've also
unlock
helped out with things like
a full
boats
weapon. I
and
imagine
fishing and
it's the
some
cost
stuff
of
we're
one
gonna be talking
legendary
about
and
today.
then
Tell us some more about the Siege Turtle.
and some
Yeah,
change
well, so
for
it's actually really interesting
each
because
different
you
variation
mentioned that it's
of
the
it.
first like 2-player mount, and it's got like the hover jets. But not only is it the first multiplayer mount, it's also going to be the first combat allotted mount that we have within the game, right? Like all the others, you have to
it is
run and jump
very
and
combat
use
force,
your engage skill,
or
and then it's
forced,
gone. But with
focused,
the Siege Turtle,
Siege
you're
Turtle.
actually going to be in combat. You're going to be able to
is gonna be
fight
intriguing.
the world bosses and in events and all of the areas, and it doesn't go
Could
away.
lead to
I
a
mean,
lot of
like, I remember
cheesing
when
of
the team was first,
especially Central Tyria stuff.
ideating on the feature,
little
right?
baby.
Like there was that moment
Very
where
cute, the little
two
baby.
members of the team were able to both exist on the exact same mount. It was just a giddying moment. It really just kind of evolved from there, right? It's a big, very heavy turtle. How do we get around that? Somebody was like, hover jets, and then suddenly, bam, art came in, and then it just felt
That
right.
is a
It's
really
kind of
cool
like
art
a
piece.
A multi-tool mount, and I'm really excited for people to be able to see how it kind of runs
I wonder
around,
if they're
what type of
gonna
mastery is added to
pursue
it,
this
and
further in
how
the
it
future with, like,
exists
a
in the play
huge,
space of
I don't
like
know,
world bosses and underwater combat,
50
and on
player
land combat,
mount.
and kind of all of these areas that are
That's
gonna
really
exist.
cool
I think It's
there.
gonna add a brand
Nice.
new feel.
I don't know if the
to
pointing
all the
works
things.
as
I'm
well
excited
with this
for everybody
camera.
to see it.
Kind of. Skiffs and fishing. I haven't seen much of this myself.
End of Dragons is also
Fishing with
going
his glasses
to add
on.
skiffs and fishing. You're going to be able to sail around the waters of Tyria with
Looks
your
like a
friends
5-party
and go fishing for
for a
events
boat,
and
is it?
for some new recipes. Nick,
Oh,
can you
that's
tell us
cool.
some about the development of these two features?
Little
Yeah,
stall,
for
little
sure.
like street food.
You know, kind of very similar to the Siege Turtle. We wanted to make sure that fishing and skiffs
Classic
also
outfit,
felt
that.
like a feature set that is going to be worthwhile for players
wonder
to be
will-
able to engage
I
in
doubt it
and
would,
kind of
but,
add
like, if
a new
sailing
sort of
past
gameplay type,
someone
gameplay
fishing on your
feel to
skiff,
an
will
already
that
existing
disrupt the
system
fishing for
with
someone? It probably
gathering.
won't.
With the skiffs, we spent a lot of time making sure that it felt
They do look
very
really
kind of
nice, don't they?
realistic. So when you look at the way that the skiff moves around
Really,
the
really
water,
nice.
the yaw of the skiff will adjust, which is like there's the water plane
Yeah.
and the yaw is like how it tilts.
Bet the roll.
After the first beta, right, there was a lot of feedback.
Wait, is
that
yaw
we'd
not that
gotten
way and roll is that way?
around How it
I
felt,
thought roll was
and we
horizontal
wanted
and
to take
yaw
all that
was
feedback
vertical.
in and
Roll.
process it and make sure that it felt like a part
muff.
of the world. Fishing is just kind of a completely different ball game because it's the first
Oh, I missed.
gathering type that we've introduced. I think,
Underwater
since
combat.
core.
Finally, I can show off my
Core
legendary
game
spear.
and core
Nice.
launch, a lot of the things that we
it's
tried to make
Creighton,
sure
isn't it?
of was that it felt
Not a waste of gold
substantial
at
and it
last.
felt
It's probably
fun,
going to
but
be
also
more
kind of
expensive
felt
now to
accessible
make those, so you probably
everybody.
were
So you've got
saving
your
money,
mining, you've got
I
your
would say.
gathering, you've got your logging. Fishing is a evolution of those things, but we still want it to feel kind of accessible to all of
I wonder,
the
is there
players.
going to be...
But unlike other
Oh, I'm
gathering
going to have to get
types, you're
new
interacting with a living
unlimited
creature,
gathering
so
tools.
you have to be patient and wait
For the
right
fishing rod.
time for
Did
it to
fishing
bite,
rods
and then you
break? Have they
strike,
said that?
and the team spent a lot of time making sure that both fishing and boats felt good for the single player and for multiplayer whenever people are experiencing the content.
What's your favorite part of fishing?
There's a bunch of parts of fishing that are really exciting, but I think very akin to my thoughts on the siege turtle, it's going to be the way that interacts with not just Cantha in the expansion
From
content,
a wave
but
as the boats go
the
past.
entire
Nice.
world, right? Because you can fish.
I hope not.
Anywhere
They probably
in
will,
Tyria
I'd say. I already
that has
have
water.
one, and the
It's
other
a very
two, please.
key
Nice.
thing.
I have
Has to
a.
have water. There are different fish depending
Hopefully,
on
I have
which
some
part of Tyria
mystic
you're
stuff
in, right?
ready
And
from
there's-
last night, some
there's
gifts,
difference
so
in difficulty
I don't know if
and
they're going to go
experience depending on
into
which kind of
Coalesce
fish,
or Aurora
on
or
what area and what
an
you're
Marine
going
weapon.
for. I'm excited.
Of course, we
and
do
I
all
think
have the
I'm most
precursor,
excited
don't
for
we?
us players
Do I have that
to
on
be
my-
able to go into old maps and new maps and be able to find the
think
spots
I have
where
it
they
on my
think they're going to be able to
character.
get the things that they're looking for, right? Hunt down all of the different kinds of fish. And there's really just that experience of being able to know that, like, every single part of the world has something that you could experience new for areas that you've already
Uploaded.
visited, you've already explored, you've already mastered. I think that's fantastic, personally.
Bringing these new
When can we
systems into
play,
the game,
download
what
the
were some of
game?
the
Hey,
development challenges
Nordicus,
of
welcome to
adding
the stream.
skips
I
and fishing?
imagine it's going to be
With
about
skips, you know, there
30
is the
minutes till
multiplayer
download,
element
and then
of
it's
it.
40
You know,
minutes
as I mentioned
till
earlier,
it
was
goes
the
live.
attention to detail stuff, as well as trying to make
Hey,
sure
the melted
that
chocolate.
it felt good for both
I'm
the
particularly
single
interested in
player
any
and
of the new
for
features now
multiplayer
that I buy the
aspect of
game,
it.
'cause I
Fishing,
know
though,
I'd
was
be
a
too jealous.
completely
Yes.
different ball game because with fishing, there was a lot of thoughts on spaces
Yeah, I think
within Porteria and the expansion.
Some of the new features do look very cool. I really like the. I was away for 5 minutes. What I missed? Not much. They've just kind of gone over Siege Turtle and fishing for the last 5 minutes, and sort of a little bit on the story there. Mainly, they're still going over their kind of selling points at the moment.
To make every area feel
There's our
kind of
Tengu.
realistic to how it would be, where like you have different kinds of fish depending on if
There
it's
it is,
freshwater or
Do I have
saltwater,
my-
right? Like shallow water, deep water, and kind of laying
I
those
don't.
things
Where is it?
out was a monumental task. I think he said that it's like the biggest Excel doc he's ever had to do, and he's worked here for a very long time.
Interesting.
So he definitely had a lot of fun with it. I think that at the end of the day he did an amazing
Skiff.
job, but that was definitely
Precursor.
one of the more time-consuming
Nice.
parts of the development
And I'm
cycle.
gonna
Very much
park
so.
myself over in
So
either
as
north
long
because
as
I think
you're
that's where it's
giving
going to be.
hints on where to find things, can you give some insider hints
Am I fuzzy?
for players who want to
I might be out of
progress their
focus.
skips and their fishing as quickly as possible, or as
Oh,
efficiently
I am
as
fuzzy.
possible?
Yeah, I think that
Closer?
experience boosters.
Is that better
making sure that your
focus-wise?
character is nourished.
It's a new
right?
camera.
Focusing
I've
on
never
getting
used it
those
before.
mastery tracks to a point that will allow you to
How's that?
utilize the like the fishing power mechanics.
That should be better, hopefully.
'Cause
I
we
think
actually
I'm a little bit out of
food,
focus.
in the game now.
I think
Some
is
of
the
them will
problem.
actually grant you fishing power as well, which will help you catch the
That should be
rarer
better.
fish.
Perfect.
Make it a bit
Good.
easier
Wait,
for you
this
to
one?
catch
There you
fish
go.
across the board.
So
as
yeah.
well as fishing with your friends, I think, is something that is
Still
going
out of focus.
to help
Ugh.
everyone exponentially.
Is that better?
Because whenever you're in a party,
Yeah,
you're
it does-
fishing
it is
with your
very
friends
close,
in the
this
exact
mic-
same
or
skiff
mic,
or within the same
this
area,
camera.
each fish that any of you catches helps the entire party get more fishing power. And it just
Don't really care about the turtle or
help
fishing.
even those who are
The
probably
bots do
not
look-
as
yeah, the
good
bots
at
look
minigame
intriguing.
to
I
be
haven't
able
seen much
to
on
hit this
them
from an accessible
myself.
standpoint.
So
Can
we shall
you
see.
share a behind
blurry
the scenes
just like
story of
Bigfoot.
developing fishing?
Since this is a new feature, we wanted to make
that
sure
better?
that
That
we
looks
could
better to
add
me.
keybind access to it. The main designer of fishing,
I also
who is,
have not
John
cropped
Hargrove,
correctly. I could see that.
went to the main programmer, which was Paul Quinn.
Let me know if
Shout out
that's
to the both
better.
of them. They've done an absolutely amazing job. But he was like, hey, Paul, can you set up a keybind for this, right? Standard stuff. But what's interesting is that Paul Quinn actually chose a very specific letter, which was J. Of course,
J?
like, it took a
What's
second
wrong with
to be like,
J?
Why does that one feel so good, right? And the reason for it was because
Maybe
he
get a
was like,
book or
oh
something
yeah,
to put it
I
under.
chose J because J is like a hook, right? And it was just like, everybody was like, perfect. It was a really small
French dictionary.
interaction, right? But it's
No,
just,
it's a tripod. I need a bigger book.
It's so good. So it's worth sharing.
I love it.
I'll get a book for when I'm actually recording. The soundtrack. Ooh, nice.
Music and audio design are
Good
a
name.
massive part
Nice.
of crafting every Guild Wars 2
I'll get
expansion
a camera
and
to
creating
a
wonderful
camera, a
player
book to lift it up
experience.
for the actual
We'd like to share a
playthrough
few
because
minutes
it's a
of this
little
composition from the End of Dragon soundtrack.
cut off. Composing the sound. This I'm actually very intrigued by. I didn't watch this, but I
Hi,
do love
my
watching
name is
behind the
McLean
scenes
Gamer,
sort of
and
stuff.
I'm the lead composer for Guild Wars
French
2
and
End of
Chevalier.
Dragons. We just finished 3 amazing days here at Ocean Way.
Gonna get
Studios in
135
Nashville,
AP and
recording with
18
some of the
skins
world's best
immediately. Nice.
musicians.
Gonna grab
We're
some
gonna combine the
cuppa,
orchestra
grab
that
a
you're used to
cuppa
hearing
and some
in the
food.
game
Very
with
nice.
Some amazing new sounds that come from Korea to bring you into the world of Cantha.
Nice. Let's see. Nice. Let me turn this up. Ooh, got the brass section as well. Lovely. Ooh. Sounds good. Sounds really good. Oh, I like it. Is this the main title? I think it is. Sounds main title. An Ocean Way. Oh my god, look at that soundboard. Oh my god, the amount of tracks, that must be so annoying. I could barely handle like 3. Guild Wars 2 is above Minecraft and World of Warcraft right now for viewers. That is awesome. Is that a tin whistle? Nice. It's in Nashville they're recording. Should have gone Abbey Road. I like the strings there. Soundboard of the and I think like my Atom is complicated. I think that's complicated. And it's not. Above World of Warcraft, oh how the mighty have fallen. Wonder if any of I assume a few of them probably would. Or at the very least, they probably would have listened to what's come before, so that they have a similar sort of feel. You obviously want it to feel completely different to what's come before, but you also want it to feel. You have to feel completely different to what we've gotten from like End of Dragons, Heart of Thorns. There's the End of Dragons theme coming in there from my side. But you also want it to feel very similar and not out of place. Jade Bots. Okay, I haven't seen anything on these guys. Well, beside the like 2 seconds in the original trailer.
Jade Bot Mastery line. Let's meet your helpful, customizable friends.
So customizable.
Jade is always refining the products that make Cantha a more accessible, advanced nation.
Whoa, that's
With
cool,
creative
Tengu.
and thoughtful
Is this the
design,
original trailer? It
the
might
same
be.
technology used in Jade Mechs can almost fit in the palm of your hand.
They're
Say hello
fascinating.
to your new
There's been
adventuring
yeah, they have been
companion.
since
We all have
for a
different
while.
needs,
They've had a lot of
so you
trouble,
can
right, this
customize
year
your
with their
Jade Bot with a module. Let them speed
just
up
how
your
they do
skills,
things. I think it is.
energize your mount,
That's very
recycle
cool.
items, scavenge for you, and more.
Create up. I love how they can create updrafts. That's going to be
Equip
really
it with a
handy.
robust power core, and your bot can even enhance your vitality. Your Jade Bot will always be there to give you a boost, save you
They'll
time,
be
and pick
there
you up when you're down.
for you when
It's
you
great
need
company
a
when you just
res.
wanna take in the view. Make a little room in your heart for
Aw,
Jade Bots.
why is it a
They'll
cat
be
and not a
available
dog?
to unlock and customize soon.
Jade Bots, a new feature coming in End of Dragons, are helpful little companion robots that you're going to be able to earn in-game and upgrade with modules that help perform various functions for you in-game, like reviving you when you're downed, giving your mounts more endurance to perform their mount
Jade
abilities
Bot
more
skins
often,
when?
and
Yeah,
so on.
they'll be.
Joining us next is Ben, one of our
I
design
think I
managers, to talk
saw
about
this
Jade
in
Bots.
map
Hi,
chat, and
Ben.
I made a
Hey,
point
Ruby,
that
thanks
I
for
feel,
having
if I
What's
remember
been your
correctly, for
favorite
Path
part
of
about
Fire,
working on this feature?
the
It's just the
first
ability to give
couple of
players
weeks
kind
was
of
very
another
basic skins,
companion
and then they
that
ramped it up with
maybe
their
a little
2K
less intrusive
and
than some of the
very
other companions
flashy
that
skins
just kinda sticks
after a
around
couple
and
weeks after
helps
launch,
you
so
out
I
when
feel
you
it's going to be a little bit.
What were some of the biggest challenges to adding this feature?
It's
for
more
you and the team?
species than races, but
I think
yeah,
the
we need dog
biggest
mander
one
tags. We
was
really,
when
really
we
do.
first proposed this, the server engineers were a little
Kara
dumbfounded
Connor
that
is
we would
not
want to
near-
propose a system that gave every player
just
the
need
ability
dogs.
to spawn another creature into the game, which pretty expensive. So they were rightly concerned. We made some adjustments and we came up with a new art pipeline specifically for the Jade Bots. Whenever you issue the Jade Bot command
They
is
remind
actually
me
an effect
of,
that plays rather than an entity spawning in the game. So it saved us a ton of server performance.
A lot of players are going to be wanting to get their hands on the Jade
They
Bots.
kinda remind
What's your
me
insider advice on how
of
to
these
get
guys
those and level
from
up those
Doctor Who.
masteries most efficiently?
Yeah, I'd say one of the big things is that a lot of the higher
Which is
tier
very
tier
dangerous,
3
'cause they decided
modules,
that the best way
actually
to keep
require
humans
drops
happy is
from
to kill
bosses
humans,
and from events.
as you can
And they're
kind of
not
see
guaranteed
here.
drops, so keep an eye on your loot as you get it in case you get something useful.
All right, thank you
That was
so
great
much,
with
Ben. I
Peter Capaldi.
appreciate
Like,
it.
oh look, After 50,000 years, what is going to be the language of humans?
I want to talk
Emojis,
now
great.
about the End of Dragons Elite Specializations.
Oh, there's an argument
Elite
regarding that
Specializations
because we
give
recently
you
learned that
a
dogs
whole
and
new
cats
way to
are
play your character.
closely
You
related.
get the ability to wield
Really?
a new weapon,
I
and
would
you
have
get
thought
a full set of new
interesting.
abilities.
Da-
Each of
oh
our
my
previous two
god, I would
expansions
love that.
brought a set of
Oh
Elite
yes.
Specializations, 2 Guild Wars 2 characters.
Do that,
And
please.
End of Dragons will bring a third
Oh,
set.
I would really love
Game
that.
designer Cal
Do I have a
Cohen
dog? I
has
don't think
been
I have a
helping
dog
us
anyway.
present these Elite Specializations as we've revealed them over the past few months, and he's back today as we count down to End of Dragons launch to help us
there a
go
Dalek
through them
in this
one
box?
more time.
So I'm Cal, I'm a game designer. I work a lot on player versus player and world versus world game modes. For End of Dragons, I also do a lot of work
How is
on
there no
Elite
Dalek on
Specializations.
this box?
Worked a lot with the skills teams.
Let's start with the Harbinger, the Necromancer's Elite Specialization.
Actually,
Why don't
there
you
wasn't
take
any
us through
Dalek
that
in
one
that.
first?
Absolutely. So the Harbinger
No,
is a
that's
really
why.
exciting take on the
It's just the
Necromancer.
master.
In the past, we've seen a lot
How'd I
more
put this back in?
defensive-oriented with core Necromancer, Reaper.
But yeah, I would love a
Scourge.
Dalek
These are
J-Bot.
a lot more tanky. That's more stereotypical Necromancer. But with the Harbinger, we're going a lot more aggressive. The Harbinger
Put that
Shroud
back.
does not defend you from incoming damage.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just a
interesting.
purely offensive kit.
That's
Good
gonna
mobility,
confuse me for so
and a
much
little
for
bit of
about
CC, but
4
just a lot
hours.
of
I would
damage
say I'm gonna be dying so
and
much.
Just a big disconnect from what
The
Necromancer
Daleks
players are really used to.
basically-
So within the Shroud, you're going to be accumulating
They
this new
had a
mechanic called
planet
Light. It's going to
Scarrow at
decrease
war.
your outgoing health, but it's also going to kind of empower some of your
So
abilities.
basically,
The
they're
elixir skills
mutated
will be more
humanoids
powerful. The elixir skills are the
who
new
have been
utility
encased
types,
in
which
a
are gonna be
tank
giving
and
you some
removed all
boon
emotion but
application both
hatred.
yourself
They're
and to
basically
allies when you go into
Nazis.
certain
Is
trait
their
selections,
basis.
But also, they're going to be potentially aggressive options, damaging and condition applications to enemies. And the weapon of choice for the Harbinger is a pistol. It's a nice little hybrid weapon, a nice all-rounder type weapon
That's
to
what
really
they
bring
are.
the class together.
Okay, moving on to the Mesmer.
So
the Elite
that's the
Specialization
Dalek.
is
It's
the
like a
Virtuoso.
mutated
What are Mesmer
version
players getting in the
of
Virtuoso?
the
So Virtuoso really started out as
Scarrowians.
this
I don't remember
psychic
which the
swordsman
two
was the big
factions.
theme behind it. This idea of just throwing a flurry
But
of
yeah, they're pretty
psychic
much
mental blades that pull out the
genocidal
clones.
hatred killing
No more
machines
clones, you just have
of mass
blades
extermination.
that kind of hover around your character.
Twitch stream
and
has
you
less of a
can
delay
carry
for me. Gonna watch the
blades
Twitch chat.
between
Fair
fights. You're
enough.
not fighting by your
Yeah, the
phone,
quality
you
should be
can
better
fight
in
with
YouTube,
your
but I
enemies, so it
think
just gives a lot more flexibility. Virtuoso is also going to get a dagger as their new
Twitch
weapon. So in addition
does
to the
tend to
dagger,
have
the
less of a
Virtuoso
delay.
is also going to get access to the psionic utility type. It's
Yeah,
a new utility
xenophobic
type. It's
cyborg
kind of a
mutants, pretty
general
much, yeah.
Jack of all trades. Just a lot of different options to
There was like
pick and choose
one
what you're
episode
trying to
where
do
they
with the
decided,
Virtuoso, where
one of them
you're trying to
decided
go
the
more
best
aggressive
thing
or
to do to
defensive.
progress the
You're gonna
Dalek
find some
cause
skills
was to
within this utility type that will fit your playstyle.
So tell us about the Willbender.
imbue
I think a
a
lot of us
Dalek
internally are
with
really
human
excited about the
DNA,
Willbender, 'cause it's very much this
which then led to
speedy
like a civil
guardian,
war because the
more
Daleks,
mobility,
most of the
so you
Daleks
just
were
have
like,
the
wait,
opportunity to
no,
fly around the battlefield. That
that's
unique,
now
style of play
non-Dalek
that
and
you don't have
non-pure and it
access
must
to
be
before.
exterminated.
So the offhand sword definitely brings
Leads
some
to a lot
mobility
of
to the table.
interesting-
In addition to giving some mobility, they're also going to give you a lot of
interesting
access to
dialogue,
crowd
I think.
control, really lock down those priority targets and just unleash the
But yeah,
large
pretty
amount of
much
damage that's available
xenophobic
through the Willbender.
cyborg mutants. It's
Let's
basic.
talk about
That's a
the
great
Vindicator.
description
The
of them.
Vindicator is a really exciting one. Every elite specialization
That's
for the
their
Willbender
name.
really starts with the legend, and
I
so
do
with
quite
Kanta, we
like the
see
idea of the
Saint
Vindicator.
Victor, we see
I'm
Arkham Morris. These
caught
kind of
between
iconic
Virtuoso and
heroes of
Vindicator
Kanta.
for our
But
full
that's
playthrough
obviously-
on
that's
stream.
two separate legends, but it also gave us the opportunity to really create two different play styles within a
I'm
single
not too sure which.
specialization, which is two legends, because obviously two is much better than one by about twice as much. We definitely wanted to create an offensive, aggressive DPS character, the Arkham Morris side. But then Saint Victor is the more
Is the
defensive
patch notes
supporty
up yet?
character. And the other main thing changing with the Vindicator that is also
No patch notes
the
yet.
dodge mechanic. The Vindicator is replacing those with a
Fair,
more powerful
would have killed
single-use
the Dalek human
dodge
too if I
ability
saw
that
him.
lasts a little
Kind of
bit longer, but
abomination
it's
was
also
that.
gonna have
He
a lot of
actually looked
damage
pretty
or,
good. No plans today, no
healing,
plans
or
tomorrow.
also boon
Picked up 2
application
pounds
as
of chicken
an
breast and other
option that
groceries
you'll be able
yesterday
to
when I
choose
finished the
through
story
your
once.
traits.
Yeah, that's my
And of
plan.
course, it's getting
Finish
access
it
to the
in
Great
one
Sword, which
sitting.
is primarily a
Welcome back,
power
Tina.
DPS weapon that's going to bring a lot of power
Where
to
did
the
that go?
Vindicator.
The warrior profession is getting the Blade Sworn, so let's look
Yeah,
at that
Blade
one
Sworn
next.
was
What does
fun
this
as well.
involve?
The primary starting point for the design of the Blade Sworn started around the Iai Jutsu sword technique, which is, the singular moment where you draw
That was
your
the
sword and
human
swing
Dalek.
it, and that is where the gun saber
Dalek
came
Sec.
from. So the gun saber is
And,
kind of
yeah,
similar
basically
to an
chained him
engineer
up
kit,
and
where
then
it is a separate set of 5
exterminate
skills
him.
that you can swap into in place
That was,
of your alternate weapon
Andrew
set.
Garfield was
Blade
actually in
Sworn
that
only have
episode
access to a
as
single
a
weapon set because they
young
now also have
New York sewer boy, sort of
gun saving.
well, not sewer boy,
It's a
but
fairly generalist
he was
kit, a
living
little
in
bit
the
of
refugee
defense,
park at the
little bit
time
of
when they were
mobility,
building
and
the
that's
Empire
also
State
going to
Building.
enable the
That's his character. That's
Dragon
when it was set.
Slash. Instead, you're going to go into this
Activate
meditative
windows? I
stance,
know I
and
need to
that's gonna
activate
charge up
windows.
for a little while,
I
and then
really
you'll
do.
Swing your sword, deal a lot of damage. There's a lot
really
of
do, Weasel.
flexibility in what your finishing move is as the
Medium
blade
rare
sworn.
beef. Ooh,
You're also
lovely.
gonna
I'm
have access to
probably
an
going to go
alpha
for
pistol,
pizza
and
today,
finally,
I
you're
think.
gonna have access to the armament
Maybe
skill
after
type.
Act
There's
1 or
some
Act 2. I
projectile
feel like I'm
destruction,
going to have to
some
charge this
adrenaline
camera
generation.
at
You also
some
have
point.
access to some
I don't
cooldown
think it's going to
reduction.
last full
Just a lot of
playthrough. I
different
don't know
tools
the
depending on
battery life on it.
situation. You're gonna have access to something via the armament skill type.
Okay,
Hot dogs
we're
and french
getting to two
fries.
that are exciting to
Very
me
nice.
personally. I may be a little
gonna go
bit
for
biased because I've
garlic
been playing
pizza
it for
and
so
some
long, but
pepperoni,
the Elementalist
Hawaiian? I'm not too
Elite
sure.
Specialization, the Catalyst. This
Catalyst
one's
is the one I
interesting
played
to
the
me,
least.
So why don't you talk about that
So
one?
it is.
The Catalyst really started on the development side with the hammer kit itself. Depending on the attunement you're in, you're either going to have a more melee style kit or a more range style kit. So once we had the hammer, we were trying to figure out what is the profession mechanic
Yeah,
that plays well with this kind
that
of
was
melee
scrambling
ranged
indeed.
hybrid flexible
Plenty
weapon,
of
and that
scrambling.
really led us to
last
the
night.
Jade Sphere. Jade Sphere is a deployable area effect skill
Get
which is going to
those
give boons
patch
to
notes
allies,
back
but
up.
also
There we
damage
are there.
enemies in that radius. It's also a
Refresh
combo
it again.
field, which is going to play really well with a lot of the combo finishers available to both the hammer and the
This is
elementals
again,
in
this is their
general.
old
So
stuff
additionally,
from
the
what they were
Catalyst is getting
showing
access
off.
to the augment utility type.
Not that it's old, but
And
as
these
in
are a
like
set
it's
of
it's stuff we've already
personal
seen,
kind of
so I'm not too
self-buffs
full
that are
about
going
it, I
to
guess.
empower or also defend you from
It's their third one
certain
so far, right?
situations.
I have been playing my Elementalist for a very long time since Guild Wars 2 came out, but I'm also loving my Thief a lot lately. The
Thief's pretty
Spectre
fun.
is
Spectre
the
I
Thief's
really
elite
did enjoy.
specialization.
That
What am I
PvP was a
gonna be
lot
able
of
to
fun
do?
with Spectre.
So the Spectre is a support
Now my chat's gone
thief.
again.
This is
There we go.
still the aggressive
I
thief
really did
character that
enjoy
thieves
the
know and love, but
PvP
at the
with
same
Spectre.
time,
That
you'll
was
be
a lot
able
of fun.
to support nearby allies. The primary
Hawaiian, yeah,
mechanic
Hawaiian.
is the shadow
Cheese and
shroud,
mustard.
once you
Ooh,
build up
I
enough
don't like
energy
mustard.
through combat, you'll be able to enter this shadow shroud, which is then going
Curry
to tether
hat-
you to
oh,
a
no.
nearby ally.
I
In
don't put
addition
anything on my hot
to
dogs because I
the
haven't had a
Shadow
hot dog
Shroud,
in
Thief is
like
getting access to main hand scepter. So this is again
3 years.
trying to be that more supporty type of weapon. We have a
Sauerkraut?
new
I've never
ally
had
targeting
sauerkraut.
system. It's going to allow you to
It's pickled
either
cabbage,
target
right? I don't
allies
like
with the
pickles,
skills
so
and
I
then
don't think
empower
I'd
them
like
or
pickled
support them.
cabbage.
Or you can also
Too
target your
vinegary.
enemies with the same skills, but instead you'll be dealing damage.
Yeah,
The
this is
Spectre's
the
also
original
going to get access to the well
Elite
utility
Spec
type.
trailers
They're
that they're
also
showing.
all mobility skills. The way that the Spectre wells work is that you will shadow step to a location and then drop the well. And the wells have varying effects.
Hmm. lot
We're
of
gonna
fun.
See the more aggressive route. We're going to see the more supportive
Chicken
route.
dogs.
I'm expecting to see both of these once we get live.
Interesting.
And both of them should be a pretty effective way to play the class.
All right, so the 8th Elite Specialization is the
Wait, they've already done
Rangers
8?
Untamed.
I'm so
What does this
distracted.
one do?
For anyone who's familiar with
Untamed
Guild
was
Wars
one,
1,
I think probably the one I
the
enjoyed
Bunny
least, to
Thumper
be
was kind of
honest.
this iconic Guild Wars 1 Hammer Ranger.
You know,
Ranger
sauerkraut,
warrior
pickles,
hybrid build.
olives,
So in
bacon.
the Guild
Ooh,
Wars 2
bacon lardon
sense, we
sounds
have
good.
the Hammer Ranger
Relish.
now, the
What type of
Untamed.
relish?
And the
Tomato?
hammer is
Should be good
again
as well.
going to be that
Ketchup,
similar
which is effectively
melee brawler playstyle
a
that has
lesser
access to
relish.
Either a lot of damage
Hot
or a lot
sauce,
of
barbecue.
crowd control, and that's going to be given through the
Does not take like
Unleash
pickles.
mechanic. That's the
I shall
professional
try it
mechanic
one
for the
day.
Untamed, which is going to bounce this kind of more raw power of nature between you and your pet. And then when the pet itself is unleashed, it's going to have
Pickle
access
relish?
to a few new skills.
Don't like
you'll be able
pickles,
to
they're too
command and
vinegary.
use as you see fit. We see that on the new unleashed
Not for me.
ambush
The worst
skills
thing I hate
that
is
are
when
going
you
to become
go to a
available
restaurant,
when you
like,
enter that unleashed state for
or
a short
fast
amount
food
of
place,
time.
especially in
The
America.
Untamed is
Every
also
time
going
I'm
to
like,
get
can I
access
get
to
no
the
pickles on my
cantrip
burger?
utility
And they
type.
always put pickles
These
on the
are gonna be a
burger,
lot
and I'm always
more
like picking them off, and then you
defensive
get
focused.
the.
There's a little bit of damage in there, but primarily defensive options to really enable
Tis
that
annoying.
melee brawler playstyle. We see some.
How we doing
condition
on
cleanse,
patch
we see
notes?
some crowd control. We see some heavy
37
defensive
past.
mitigation skills. So a lot of different ways to flesh out that melee playstyle with the Untamed.
What's the final elite
And
spec to look at?
last but not least is the Mechanist Elite Specialization
Mechanist
for
was
the
fun too.
engineers.
I did
The
quite like that.
Elite
Dislike
Specialization
sauerkraut
that
doesn't
filled the
just
game
doesn't
with
taste right.
Jade mechs
That's fair
during
enough.
that last beta event. Cal, why don't you tell us about this one?
So once we knew we were doing J-Tech for End of Dragons, the Mechanists came together pretty quickly, at least the general idea. It's like, all right, we have J-Tech. What if there was just a huge Jade mech available?
Makes
to
sense
the
again as
engineer
well
and
for engineer to have it.
essentially creating more of
Do my
this-
bread
this
and butter
pet
chips
class.
though? They're more
And that
sweet. Bread and butter
influenced a lot of the
chips?
design for the rest of the specialization because within
Chips, do
within
you
the traits,
mean
you're able to select
crisps or
different skills that the Jade mech has access
do you mean
to,
chips?
allowing you to go either more power.
Can't wait to
damage,
play
more condition
Daredevil,
damage,
nothing else.
or
I can't
more
wait to
support.
mess around in
The mech
Harbinger
can
and
do it all.
die
That's something
probably
we wanted to
100
make
times.
sure
How many
the mech
deaths?
is a standalone.
We should
wanted to
count
make
how
sure
many
that it could
deaths I'm gonna
fill a
have.
few different roles. So in addition to the traits, the signets
Let's
are
see how many
also
deaths I'm
going
to have
be
today.
almost like mech skills in
Probably a
themselves,
lot.
where some of them will command the mech. The elite skill commands the mech to use the Jade Buster cannon and shoots this giant laser, dealing a bunch of damage. Some of them
It was
are
a lot of fun.
a bit more tame.
I was
you have to
terrible
pull
at it,
the mech,
but it was a lot of fun.
the mech pushes enemies back from around it. Just a lot of ways to interact
It's a
with
kind
your
of
mech
pick.
through
Oh,
the Signet active.
interesting.
And obviously being
Never
Signets,
heard
they
of it.
also give you and your mech some bonus stats when they're not on cooldown. Finally, the Mechanist is also going to have access to the mace weapon. Bit of a condition
From the
damage.
depression,
and a
they
little bit
made
of a support
sandwiches pickles,
style
and they're
weapon.
just sweet
So
pickles,
the
but they're
Mechanist really has a
implemented.
lot
Okay.
of different ways that you can play it, and we're really excited to see
Interesting.
kind of the
no,
army
I
of
want,
Jade mechs that appear in the world, and all doing
on.
various different things. It'll be
Keyboard's plugged
really
in.
interesting to see how that plays out.
End of Dragons is our
Okay,
third
I've died
expansion, and today we are opening the
17,893
gates to Cantha,
times.
which was a major gameplay and story setting
So,
back in the original Guild Wars
I'll probably
game.
hit 18,000
This seems like
in
a good
Cantha
time to mention
today.
to those of you who are new in our community that you can play the core Guild Wars 2 game entirely free with
That is a
no
great-
subscription fee. Just head to
great,
guildwars2.com,
free-to-play
create
thing, I
your
think.
account, and download the client.
A bit
We
limited,
can't wait for
but
you to join our community.
It could have been a lot more limited. Legendary weapons. Died 3,000 times. I wish I'd died 3,000 times. Ooh. Nice.
This third generation of legendaries is imbued with the magic of the
Because
Older
of Doom
Dragon
CM.
Orrery,
I haven't
but there
done
is
Doom
more
CM.
to
I can't
come
blame
and
it on
more
that.
to tell about the legendaries,
Oh yeah, I'm
so
immortal.
I will turn it
100%.
over to Nick for that.
Hey Nick.
Hi everybody.
Welcome
As
back,
Ruby
Nick.
just mentioned, we'll be talking about the
Saw you earlier.
legendary weapons that are coming out with this expansion. With the launch of End of
That was a
Dragons,
zoom.
we're going to be releasing the
That was
Orrery
a-
set, but after End
Wait,
of
that way.
Dragons, we also have a bunch of other sets coming in.
I
as
like being
well,
able to do that.
Each themed off of the Elder Dragons that
Ooh,
currently
that looks
exist
cool.
within the game. That
I
means
wish it was
that
higher
you're
quality.
gonna be having close to
Can I go higher quality?
100 different weapons.
I
that
can't-
you can
only I
have
can,
with-
'cause I'm also streaming
Yeah, it's a lot.
myself.
With
No,
each
1080
specific
is the
set
max.
being tailored and themed towards each of the dragons. Like
Yeah, I wanna see
Artoric,
these too.
Like Zaitan, Mordremoth, etc. One of the overarching goal sets for the team was like having something that added a level of prominence that was
is the
identical to,
bioluminescent, isn't it?
like
No.
PvP and World v World finishers, right?
Shattered?
Where it
No.
doesn't matter if you're in the middle of
It's not a
combat, the
legendary,
second
though.
you see
Gem
somebody
store.
stomp, you know that that just happened because those effects are there. And there's also the fashion aspect of it, right? Because we're Fashion Wars 2, as a lot of people already know.
Hey.
So
Call it
the
Fashion Wars 2,
variety
nice.
in which each of these different sets is kind of visualized
chat.
allows for people to be able to diversify different outfits depending on which legendary they choose and which legendary from which set they choose, right?
One
'Cause
Spanish
Mordremoth
fitness
is gonna
guy.
have a very
I
different
think he's
feel
yeah,
than
probably is Spanish descent with
Arborstone
his
and a very
surname.
different look.
So, what kind of challenges
I hope
came
that
with
they've-
implementing these?
Ooh.
I would love if they implemented like
I've heard a lot of stories, and as
wardrobe
mentioned earlier,
templates
right,
would be
it's
nice.
like 100 weapons. So it's like, how does the team approach those weapons and their visuals in a way that is different enough that helps people
Just
feel
got the
like each
notification
one
went
is worth
live
the
right
investment,
now?
will also be
Have I gotten that
similar
notification?
enough that it allows for the development team to have some flexibility in and consistency in the way they approach them. And I think
I got the
main
notification
artist
from
was
YouTube, but
Chelsea
not
Mills,
Twitch.
who's God. as
That's
everyone
weird.
knows.
YouTube
You know,
was
she
first.
able to take the base models and find a way to have them sculpted in a specific style that allowed for
Words
things
look cool. I think their
like
wording's
the
there.
crystals from Orion's
The Orient shield.
weapons to be able
I'm
to
probably gonna
be,
start with- oh, I don't know.
molded and
Maybe the
changed
pistol.
to like a wood texture and wood feel.
Yeah,
for
they
the
did.
ones that
Yeah,
are,
I'm kind of
more
impressed that they.
Dreamlike-esque, right? Like even though the
I wonder
silhouettes
is
are
that
the
planned?
same,
Well, I
right,
mean,
the
it's
coloring is
pre-recorded
different,
and they're in
the,
separate rooms, so.
material usage is different. Kind of all of that stuff allowed for us to be able to.
Well, they're probably in the same
meet
room,
Those
but
two goals. The color
they-
palette
I
in and
doubt
of
they
itself
have,
was a completely separate
multiple
challenge,
camera
right?
setups
Because
going, you know?
When the team took the base color palettes that you'd expect from dragons like
No
Mordremoth
patch notes yet.
and Zaitan, what you'd see is that they're actually very similar. There's a lot of dark greens and browns because one is like wood and one is like death, and those are very similar color palettes. I think that Chelsea did a great job trying to find ways to be able to differentiate these things while still
Oh, did
keeping
Chelsea
the
do all
core
of them?
themes. I think something that she noted was one of her favorite parts was like there's like some like brain-ish stuff and very like flesh, like decaying flesh colors, so
Ooh,
that helps
nice.
it pop comparatively
That does
to
sound
like
good.
Mordremoth, you know, so it's like flesh textures versus wood textures and like brain-esque kind of popping colors versus the like Mordremoth very naturey ones. Those are just some of the challenges. Of course, there were ones that were very great and very small comparatively.
That looked like
but
the
overall,
icon
that
for
was
the
definitely
precursor
some of the
from
bigger
Return
ones.
2.
What were some of the funniest things that
18
happened
minutes. Yeah,
during
I'm
development
expecting
of
the
these
patch notes in the
legendaries?
next 5-10 minutes.
With our game, right, and with these legendaries specifically, they
Hopefully.
will have specific effects, right? Because like the FX team also did a large pass on these things, which I think actually to mention was another challenge. Like how does the FX team make differing effects for each of the things that are going to be happening, like the final blow that happens when you kill creatures, it actually scaled depending on the size of the model, which is like, you know, you can be
that's
a
good.
character model, it could be a transform. But what was really interesting is that it was inverse. So like when you're a giant Norn, the effects scaled to like Asura size, or when you're like an Asura, the effects would scale to Norn size. So that was definitely one of the ones that everybody was like, this is hilarious. I think the key one that Lee Bledsoe, who is the he is the effects lead for this expansion, and I think Stephen McNally, right, there was a story that was shared about that one that I think is hilarious, where the effects that we were talking about earlier, like it was playing off of
Maybe they are in the same room. There's shots for listening.
The agent, which probably
I kind of thought they were
difference.
using the same
difference
like
there is that
place and just
imagine, like, you
doing it
kill
all
pocket raptors, and then it's just like multiple explosions of like every single pocket raptor
one after the other,
getting the effect played off of them.
and cutting
So
it
it's kind of
together
like,
for later on. Why?
I don't know, it was really interesting to see that because it's just like fireworks. All
Why
of a
did you
sudden,
zoom?
Right? Like you hit one.
Because pocket raptors and the baby Karka, those are very tiny enemies in our game that always travel in packs.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just a bunch of small dudes in one thing equals big explosions and fireworks. So I think that
Interesting.
Like, that in of itself was just absolutely fantastic to kind of witness and experience.
I love it.
Bug-wise.
Guild halls. Here we go.
I want to spend a little bit of time talking about guild
patch
halls.
notes yet?
Guild halls in Guild Wars 2
At the
are
portal
a private
in Eye
space
of the
for
North
you
that
and
could-
your guild that you can personalize and make your own. End of Dragons is bringing a new guild hall to the game, one with a
shall have a
unique Canthan aesthetic.
The blocked
Nick,
hallway.
Why don't you tell us about that?
For the Guild Hall expedition that we've got going on, you're going to be getting the chance
That will be
to
interesting.
engage
The
with
portal
characters
to
that you
and
might be
from-
familiar with from the main storyline.
Well, everywhere
like
and Eye of the
Kane
North
and
in
Beyond, as examples.
Guild Wars 1
But they're
is
gonna be
just
playing
south of
more
Eye of the North.
a lead and integral role within the
Let's go have a look.
expedition and the narrative.
I still
of
haven't
that
installed
kind of
Guild
acquisition
Wars 1 on this
method
PC, so I
and the
can't
gameplay
open up
itself
Guild Wars 1
for
to
Guild
show you.
Hall, so I think it's really exciting. But
Pocket Raptors
alongside
can
that,
go to
something
hell.
as to kind of note when it comes to
With our
those
new
themes
Primordius
and the subject
weapons.
matter for the guild halls is that the guild hall actually
You're talking
is
about
in a
over
place
here?
that's going to be familiar to players who have played Guild
So
Wars 1.
yeah, in Guild Wars
What we
1
decided is
you would
that
come
instead of
out
adding
here,
that area to
go up a little
certain
cliff
province, the team decided it'd be
here,
best
like
to
kind of
have
windy,
that
windy,
be the
windy,
guild
and there's a
hall
little
for
a
players
surrogate
who
here that would
want to be
lead.
able to experience that
Well, you would
slice of
go
Cantha.
through an
And
surrogate
alongside that, what's
either
actually really
in-
fantastic is that
I think it's around
one of the
Gandharan
original
or
map artists for Guild
near
Wars 1 was
Kamadan.
the one that
So that would
was chosen to work on
be
it.
Istan?
Specifically, shout out to Darren Claypool, who was set
is
artist.
down here,
who did
somewhere
an
around
absolutely
here. I guess.
Amazing job with the area. It's
Go out.
gorgeous.
It was
on
here
this side.
somewhere.
It really is.
Kantha it was
What
in
about you,
Buckdeck
Andrew?
Byway,
What
I
can you
think.
tell us about the
And
guild
that would
halls?
take you to the research
So
station
the
up
guild
here
hall
where you'd
actually
meet
takes
Jorah,
place on
Vec,
an island that
Ogden,
actually has quite a
and
bit
you'd
of
flee to the
historical
Hall of
relevance
Monuments
to,
on Eye of the
the
North.
Winds of Change content. It's the location where their original leader, Riku, was killed by the Guild Wars 1
Riku.
protagonist. So we definitely wanted to sort of touch on that when we were making the capture event for this guild hall. Two things we kept in mind for the capture event was, one, we want to tell a little bit more of a story, and then two, we want to make
Shit, I can
sure
do-
that guilds, regardless of the size of the guild, will be able to capture this guild hall. So we made sure to make the content more encounter focused and a little bit less, oh my god, there's waves of enemies coming at me from every direction.
So
That
Eye of the
means,
North here, and
players
this is
in
Ice
a
Cliff
larger
Chasms,
guild
and
can
that's
sort
the
of divide
entrance
and conquer
to
if
the
they
Eye of
want
the
to
North
and take
area
on these
in Guild Wars
multiple
1.
encounters simultaneously, or we left a generous
Which
enough
would
time limit that
be
if a group of
somewhere
a
out
two-person
here,
guild
I
wants
think,
to go in there,
near
they
Lion's
can just do
Arch.
those encounters one by one.
Oh,
and still
you know
have
what? It's
time
the
to
surrogate right
capture their
here.
own hall. We thought it was
Then
appropriate
over
for a guild to
in
be able to capture their own hall without the reliance
Istan.
on, you know, asking somebody in
Load.
Lion's Arch for help.
Is this updated
and then
yet?
On top of that, this
Load?
map, I think is
Not updated
probably
yet.
the blankest slate for guild decorators. We deliberately made a
Oh,
lot
that's
of open
cool.
space
Blank space.
and,
Nice.
sub islands off of the main island to
So you
allow
go
people
out
to
of
let their
Kamadan, somewhere in the Plains
imaginations
of
go crazy.
Jarin.
Please invite
But
me
yeah.
when you build your cool racetracks so I can come check them out.
You just assured so many invitations.
No, that's great. I love seeing that stuff that players
I just want to
build. It is
fish. Yeah,
insane.
fishing's gonna be cool. Arborstone.
One more thing
We finally have
I want to
Delesio
talk about while we
Seaboard?
still
Probably
have to
not.
go Here is Arborstone. Arborstone
That's the
is
space
a
between
player hub
LA
next to
and
the
Essex.
Echobold Wilds map with lots of amenities and fun little secrets to discover that you as the player can level up and improve as you go through the gameplay. So Indigo, why don't you tell us more about what we'll find in Arborstone?
Yeah, absolutely. So Arborstone was a really fun opportunity. It's a brand new player hub, like Ruby said, and we've covered
it's
it on a
player
couple
hub. Okay,
occasions.
cool.
Arborstone will be a recognizable location to some of our factions fans, but what we see in Arborstone
is
now
indeed.
is very, very new. And basically, we go there and we end up at a point in the story using it as a refuge, and then we have the ability.
So we're gonna get kicked out
of
Kainen then, right? That must be why we retreat to here.
And that was a really fun opportunity.
Hopefully because of the Ministry of Purity.
Really
Hopefully.
To kind of dive into some side stories and
That's
utilize
very
a
cool.
bunch of different aspects of that. I'm expecting it to be like a really exciting new place for people
Arborstone's
to go
a
hang
really,
out
really
with
cool
their
place
friends.
as well.
There's crafting stations. I know Annie Vandermeer, who was the primary designer on it, poured so much love alongside Morgan Lockhart, the
Good
writer
stuff.
that worked on Arborstone.
Like Eye of the North, yeah,
any
that's
of the
what it
other maps,
sounds
it's
like.
reactive to the story. It's kind of this hub
And that is
for
what I
all of
wanted.
the
I was asking
characters
for
to
some sort of
return
player over
to.
city
It's
map,
very
so I'm happy with
safe
that.
and comforting and warm, and oh my god, is it a beautiful map. It's probably one of the most stunning things in the expansion, and I adore
It
it
does
so
look
much.
beautiful.
You can walk through those hallways forever. It's massive, and it's the kind of
Looks
place
like Gothic
that really
50. Yeah,
encourages you
it would
to
be.
explore.
It's
And I
from
think
like
players are
it's
gonna get
the
a kick out of
Petrified
it. It's
Echo
also
with
the
Kurzix, so
hub and the
that was
checkpoint
more
for
Gothic
our,
art
strike
style.
missions. So there's just all sorts of
We
things
already
you
have a
can
hub?
do.
Well,
There
yeah.
are no limits. It's really fun opportunity.
There are some things, there are some features
But
that we haven't talked about.
you can have more
Yeah, I
than
think
one
my
player
favorite
hub.
thing about Arborstone, like I said, was just that it's such a big part of the map.
That's
and it's separate
huge.
from
It looks
Echo
great.
Vault, but it really just encourages you to explore. And I'm the kind of person that can just get lost really quickly.
I do like
especially
the idea of a
in building
huge city map
complexes and games.
to explore.
And there's so many rooms and nooks and crannies, and I feel like I find something new every single time.
Oh, there's the
especially as,
gods.
like, the art
Look at
assets are
that.
coming in. It
Balthazar
was
still
really
there?
Cool
Is
to
that
see
Balthazar?
that really fun opportunity.
There are some things.
It's really just in build. I find something new
That's
every
Balthazar,
single
isn't
time,
it?
especially
Yeah.
as like the art assets are coming in.
Interesting.
Like I had mentioned about
Very
Annie,
interesting.
the main designer on Arborstone, she was just so incredibly passionate about building a map that was a lovely homage to what Arborstone
That's a classic
was.
Guilds
But
1
she
statue
would,
as well. Love it.
basically throughout the entire like expansion when we were working on it, she would
getting
take
very
tours
excited
of
now.
developers through
Tend to.
just to show us what she
We're
was
gonna get
doing.
the trailer
to get
soon. We're gonna get the
feedback.
patch notes
We're all
soon.
so excited
Whoa.
about this content, and Annie's just one example of that, and just her excitement is just infectious.
Where I'm in
and
my
you
bedroom.
can't help but just be really thrilled.
I have a new camera.
And I think that players are going to really appreciate the product that
Hope
kind
you're doing
of
well today, though.
culminated in.
Welcome to the stream. Oopsie daisy, I murdered Balthazar. Can you get rid of that statue?
One thing we haven't
Strike
talked about
mission,
yet
so
are
this is
the
probably the
strike missions
penultimate
coming in
thing
End of
before
Dragons. Joining us next is
the
Cam Lynch,
cinematic
our
trailer.
senior game designer. Cam, hi, welcome.
Still no patch notes. Hey, Cameron.
So why don't you start by talking a little bit about who you are and what you do here at ArenaNet?
I'm Cameron, and I
I'm
work at
Cameron
ArenaNet.
Rich. I'm a senior game designer here at ArenaNet. I act as the lead
Bit
for
more
the
detail.
Encounters team that works on
Color
all combat
blue.
experiences for Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons.
Okay, so what are strike missions?
Strike missions in Guild Wars 2 are 10-player instances
Do you
that
want,
you
like,
can tackle with
cyan
your
blue?
friends. You get pitted up against some epic
Oh, wait, you
bosses
can't even
that you
see
might
the
have
color,
seen in
can
the
you? You
story
kinda can.
of Guild Wars 2 End of
Cyan
Dragons.
blue.
And they're souped up versions of these encounters
blue.
which require a lot more coordination and communication with your
There you
friends
go.
to take down.
Who are these
I could
souped
probably
up
take
versions
this
of
off
the
and then-
bosses in strike missions? Who are we encountering here?
They are moments from the End of Dragon's story, pitting you up against some antagonists that you'll find out more about whenever you play through the story.
There's
itself.
blue.
So while we won't
I'm
reveal
so
exactly who
covered
those
in darkness.
antagonists are today, you
Within
can expect to
darkness
encounter
is
them
your
as you
ally.
go through the End of Dragon story content.
Really adapted
Can
the
you
dark.
talk a
I
little
was
bit
born
about
in it.
how these enemies fight and maybe
Molded
what
by
some
it.
of the
That's as blue as
abilities
you're
are
getting,
that
I'm
they
afraid.
have?
For the strike
Because of this
missions, we
camera,
really
I
wanna
need to
make
have
sure that we're,
front lighting
dialing
to
in
work
on
well.
what kind of personality
Yeah,
these characters
normally
and
it's 10 minutes
creatures have,
beforehand.
and how we
Trick
can
cam.
actually display those personalities through the mechanics of the encounter.
This is my
So we ask
room.
questions about like what kind
Look,
of weapons do they use?
this is
what
my
kind of
Xbox
powers do they
controller.
have at their disposal? Is there any signature
This is my-
trait to them
my
that we might be
passport.
able to think of creative ways of creating mechanics that shows that personality through the mechanic itself?
A
We
chocolate
want the
bar?
encounters to really feel like
It is
an
my room.
extension of the character that you're fighting, rather than just, stay out of the orange
Beer?
and go into the green.
You've been working on strike missions for a really long time, and I know this is a labor of love. What do you think is going to just blow players away with the new End of Dragon strike missions?
This is better. Which the
while I don't
lighting?
wanna give any
I'm not. I
spoilers
don't
for
have
the
this
exact
camera. I only have
moments,
this camera
I
for
will say
today.
that
I'm afraid.
each encounter in End
But
of Dragons
it's gonna
has
look
moments
cool.
that are designed
Hopefully.
to really surprise players, make them take a moment to say, "Wow."
Does it look better
what
with
is
the
happening
curtains
right now?"
drawn?
And just kind of get them
Kind
a
of.
little bit hyped up for what's going to come next.
What do you want players to take away from each encounter when they do these strike missions and they're learning them?
So the End of
Why did you
Dragon
send
Strike
me?
missions
That was the
are
song from
designed
last
to be
night.
accessible for a wide audience.
Was that
And
not
part of
you who
that
clipped
means
that? I think it
we
was you
need
who
to
clipped
teach
that.
players the mechanics that they need to learn and
I'm pretty sure it
master
was you. That's
in
why
order
I
to
sent you
take
the My
those
Chemical Romance
skills and
song.
tackle the higher difficulty content that already exists in the game, as well as the new content that's going to be coming out in the future. So if you're tackling these strike missions for the first time, it
Give
should
me blood,
teach you the skills that you need
blood,
to succeed in the future.
blood.
Okay, let's go behind the scenes
Something
a little
about
bit.
a flood.
How do you determine what is and is not working, and what should stay and what should go?
No patch notes.
Well, so the first thing that we do
Gonna go out
is
to make
we
sure-
prioritize a rapid iteration schedule, an aggressive
News and
testing.
announcements,
we
maybe?
try to get in early.
Oh, yeah, they changed to Magic
make
Finder.
sure
Look
that
at
we're
this.
Playing the content as soon as possible in the development
Yeah.
process, so we can find what's working and
Let's
what's
do-
not, and follow the fun and focus on just picking that direction.
Well, and
and
launch
running
next week
with
when we
it.
change
That
Magic
involves
Find. We
getting
want to give you some
everybody
context.
together
Currently,
early
the
and often.
exception of
Involves
AP
getting
bonus.
QA involved in the process as early as possible.
750%.
To make sure that we're landing on the thing that is the highest quality version of the product.
What were some of your biggest
Wait, what?
challenges with that?
I think the biggest challenge that we faced with the End of Dragon Strike missions was that we wanted to directly integrate them
At the end,
into
the cap for
story of
maximum
the
was set at
expansion,
750.
and that
That's
required
insane.
us to team up with the story team and the narrative team.
Does that mean I'm gonna be able to-
It presented a lot of unique challenges.
I spent
that
all my luck.
required
Does that mean
some
you're able
really
to upgrade
creative
your luck
solutions,
with
but the
the
team went
750?
above and
Interesting.
beyond and exceeded my expectations and delivered something that we're all really proud of.
What's your favorite thing about the strike missions?
Oh man, so I'm a big fan of storytelling in games. One of the things that allows games to transcend other
Let's go
forms
this
of
way.
media is creating experiences that take the narrative side of the game and integrate it into
Not
the
there yet.
gameplay. And so with the strike missions and the
Sent them up
Dragons,
video-
we partnered up with the
I
story
didn't watch
team
it.
to
I'm
think
sorry.
about how can we take the
Too long
mechanics
didn't
that
read,
we're
they
building
fixed it. Yeah, that's
and
what it
tell
seems
the
like.
story that we're telling through the VO and the narrative lines through the actual encounter itself. I think we were able to achieve that
Well,
on a level that we
no,
hadn't
I think they
before,
seem to
and
have
it's really
fixed the
exciting, and I'm
envelopes
super,
this year.
super
Envelopes
happy
seemed
to
a lot
see
better.
what we were able to achieve.
But yeah, it seems like I
As
should
the
not
team
have
was
bought
working on this, what
15,000
player feedback
lucky
do
red
you
bags.
incorporate? We talked about
I'm gonna have to
running this
boost
through
my
its
Magic
pieces
Find
and
so much
testing
now.
it a lot and getting feedback. What was some of the player feedback on that?
So, with our Ice Brood Saga Strike mission,
Here we go.
heard players loud and clear that the feedback was that they wanted to see a larger
Oh, I didn't mean to pause you. I just meant to
focus
turn you
on
down.
teaching mechanics that players needed to learn in order to achieve success.
Right.
That was something
Patch
we
notes time.
support
Where did that
when
go?
we put into the design process of End of Dragon Strike
So,
missions from the very
Kantha.
beginning.
For as long as memory
We
serves,
bring
Tyria has been
experiences
locked
where players
in the
really
Dragon
needed to
cycle.
respect the
With
mechanics
every
of the
iteration, let me
encounter,
move this
learn
actually here,
them,
so easier to
and
read. I'm
execute
more
on
in
them
focus.
correctly in order to get to the finish line and achieve
With every iteration of awakening, consumption, and slumber, seeming as fixed as an occurrence as the movement between night and day. But now 5 elder dragons are dead, felled by the hand of the commander and their allies. And with each death, the powerful magic once stabilized by their existence have been released. Some of this has passed to Irene, but the rest has vanished to parts unknown. Where has it gone? What does it mean for Tyria, for these fundamental forces to be increasingly destabilized? It seems our answers lie in a long shuttered corner of the world, Kantha. No longer the war-torn nation of history books, Kantha has exploded into a metropolis of innovation fueled by powerful Jade tech. But such rapid expansion must surely come at cost. Where were the Kanthans willing to pay? What were they, sorry? And what does it have to do with secrets lying beneath the unending ocean? The commander and their allies must race against a ticking clock to untangle the mysteries of Kantha, lest the foretold conclusion of the Dragon Cycle bring about the end of Tyria as we know it. Oh!
So you can jump into level 80 content with your friends right away. Special
Does it?
shout out to our player community, one of the friendliest and most helpful out there. Thank you all for
Kantha.
everything you do to make new players feel welcome and help them on their journey.
I'm gonna try restart the game.
The gates of Kantha are about to open. We wish you all the
Here's the
best on your
trailer. Let's
journey, whether you
watch the
start
trailer
playing
and
right
then
now, or whether you watch your internet partners play End of Dragons on the Guild Wars
we
Twitch
shall.
channel. Either way, welcome to Kantha.
9.
I definitely
Nope.
want to give a big thanks to
Not 9.
everyone who participated in all of our beta events for the Elite Specializations, which gave us a lot of great data, a lot of opportunity
Okay.
to improve
I want the trailer, though.
these for End of Dragon's launch.
Thanks a lot for playing the game. You guys have stuck with us for so many years, and we're just excited for you to see it.
8.
So obviously we've been holding
The launcher
on
will be
back
at
because
5
we
o'clock,
wanted
I
to avoid
imagine.
spoilers and let players experience
So I'm going to
it
read through all the
first
patch
time
notes
in
as
the
I'm
game,
patching and then wrap up the stream and start my recording once I lift the camera up a bit. 7.
We've worked enjoyed creating it for you.
6.
I'm so excited for you guys to get to play this and experience the story that we've put together. We're so incredibly passionate about it and just have so much fun, and we just can't wait to share this all with you.
5.
I hope you all like Saitan Province, Xingzhe, because that's the thing that I put the most heart and soul into. And good luck to everybody out there.
Bid you all farewell. Gotta do Kantha. Yeah, we'll be wrapping up in just a few minutes, Weasel. Exciting. 1. Oh, here we go. They skipped like... Here we go. Is this the trailer, right? Oh, I muted it.
Years, we have seen so much.
Here we go.
In hundreds
Here we go.
of years, we have seen so much change.
Oh.
The Elder
That's
Dragon's
cool.
lust for
That's
magic
Kunavang. No, that's
is
Oreen. No.
unsustainable,
Kunavang? Oreen?
bringing a new season of transformation and conflict. Mortals forge new powers greater than themselves.
This looks
My
phenomenal.
only fear is the consequences such creations may bring. The future still has yet to be written, but time is running out.
The Jade Bots are turning on people. It looks... This trailer looks beautiful. It really, really does. Ooh! Gun sword. Nice. I am legend. Oh. Whoa.
Will you forever take your place in Tyria's history?
That's giving me Kralkataric vibes from... Oh my god. Whew. That shot is insane. I love that. He's taking over the Jade. Oh my god. That's 100% for sure. In my opinion. For now. We'll find out. That is impressive. Kralkataric. Now sponsored by Mountain Dew. That is so cool. Whew. Oh. That's mad. Right. Let's patch. And let's get the patch notes going. Ho ho. Oh, that looks so cool. New launcher sick. Let's see it. Can't. Ooh, lovely. That is pretty nice. My email. Crap. Right. New mount, the Siege Turtle. I'm going to read through the patch notes as we patch, and as I said, then I shall sign off and play through my playthrough. With Canton isolation, the Luxon Armada has become a thing of the past. Oh, but the remnants of the once great society have been able to maintain their traditions by continuing to raise siege turtles. Modern turtles are now outfitted with the latest in Jade tech, from powerful jump jets to carry them across the Jade Sea to the great siege cannons to pummel their enemies to dust. Siege turtles represent the merging of past traditions with the technological future of Kantha. Earn your siege turtle by completing a series of collections beginning the Jade Sea, so to get to the end of the campaign, it seems. Comes with 2 seats. Owner take the role of the driver. Yeah, we know that. That's fine. Masteries have... nothing new there. Masteries now have a dedicated skill menu that can be accessed underneath the swap weapons. Oh, interesting. Any skill in this menu can be right-clicked to make it your active mastery skill. So that's probably in between, like, fishing, skips, all that sort of malarkey. It's been leaked before, but don't email me, please. Email me in Quando Games if you want to email me. Introducing the Jade Bot. Jade Bots are new robotic assistants that can be configured to help in many ways, provided you find the needed parts. Okay, so you have to craft your Jade Bot and unlock it. Power core and modules, it seems. Power cores also give the Jade Bot, the owner, a vitality boost. Okay. You unlock it through the story. First camera, power core, and sensory array will be given to you as you complete the story, learn recipes. Nice. Fishing. Once unlocked, fishing can be accessed from the new mastery skill. Yeah, that's what they said already. Fish wherever water of swimmable depth. Oh, okay, so it's anywhere where there's swimmable depth. That's interesting. Fishing nodes will provide the best rewards that can be found in explorable zones throughout the game, both old and new. So it seems small chance to get a fish outside in random areas. Can you share the patch? I can indeed. No bother at all. Or maybe it was Emperor who clipped the Blood Song. Was it Emperor who clipped the Blood Song? It might have been. I do apologize if I randomly sent it to you then, Weasel. So yes, fishing rod determines the look of your fishing rod. Bait, a new stackable item type that helps catch specific fish from around the world. Nice. Lure, the number of charges that grants bonus fishing power. Okay, fishing power, a new attribute that makes fishing easier by increasing the size of your marker in the minigame. Okay. Did you clip the Blood Song, or was that Nefarious Baguette? I can't remember. So it seems you can fish anywhere, but fishing spots are going to be more likely to get you fish. Skiffs. Once unlocked, your skiff can be summoned from the new Mastery skill menu. When summoned from land, skiffs are placed by targeting nearby water. You can rotate your skiff before placing it by holding down the left mouse button. When summoned while swimming at the water's surface, the summoned player will be immediately seated in the pilot seat. So it's kind of like the skimmer. Using toggle anchor skill will anchor your skiff, allowing you to safely stand up and fish. And you can board. You must be in the party or squad to board. Okay. Arborstone. An ally faction of Kantha, the Kestrels, have offered Arborstone for you to use as your home base in Kantha, once belonging to the great Kurzik House zu Helzer. The Kestrels, that's should be a capital H there. The Kestrels claimed the ruin. It must be the descendants.
Morning, your lordship.
Hey, thank you, Ethan, for the follow. I think the mouth face looked more like a snake. Let's hope the X-Pack's good and not a flop. Enjoy your new adventure. Thank you very much, Venom. I hope if you get to playing it or seeing it, I hope that it lives up to your kind of expectations from Kantha and factions. Dragon's equipment provide a large increased power to ferocity and similar increase to precision and vitality. Berserker meta kill. Maybe. I stream both here, Ethan, and on YouTube at the same time. I'm on both. So the Kestrels claim the ruin and use it as a place for refuge for those fleeing the Ministry of Purity. Ooh, hopefully the Ministry of Purity is still around. These days the Kestrel Rangers have little use for it themselves, and so have allowed you to take it over its upkeep and expansion. How good are we here? About quarter of the way done. While the upgrades are player specific, the space is a multiplayer hub, allowing you to experience Arborstone with your friends. That's basically End of Dragon's Eye of the North. Halfway for you? Nice. Every day. Edison, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Every tier you unlock adds more to this expansion, bringing new features and stories to explore. Ooh, stories. Nice. Okay. You unlock Arborstone and its Restoration Mastery line as you progress through the main story. End of Dragons brings with it a series of 4 new strike missions, as well as updates to the reward system for the strike mission game mode. End of Dragons strikes are based on the epic encounters from the End of Dragons story and can be unlocked by completing their related story chapters once per account. So that means you can't jump into the strike missions until you've done the story on at least one character. Interesting. I've only seen you stream on YouTube. Well, welcome to Twitch. Twitch is slightly lower quality, but I think better delay, if it's any use to you. YouTube is more transcoding, so it does. These new strike missions can be accessed from both the open world and Arborstone, so Arborstone is going to be our strike mission hub as well, similar to DRM's or the raid hub. Challenge mode versions for all 4, only 4 strike missions will be released. Does that mean there's only 4 bosses in the story? Following the launch of End of Dragons, IBS missions are now award blue, profit, and crystals. Red and green are earned in the Iceberg Strike missions. Be converted to blue and blue. Okay. Now everything. So all of the Iceberg Saga is now blue, and then red and green seem. Or no, green is End of Dragons. So they've gotten rid of the red. Nice hairstyle. Thanks. Yeah, it's a bit all over the place, isn't it? I need to get it cut. I really do. A new weekly purchase of the Mystic Coins and Clovers as well added in. Challenge mode bosses in Nightmare, Observatory, and Sunquat no longer have the chance to reward Mystic Coins. They've already done this. Daily Mystic Clover purchase has been there as well, at a cost of 2 Mystic Coins, 2 Globs, and 2 Spirit Shards. Magnetite Shards may now be spent to purchase up to 10 Clovers per week. That's a lot of stuff. A new set of legendary weapons themed around Aurene the Prismatic Dragon now available. Additional varieties of the new legendary set themed after each individual Elder Dragon will be released following the launch. So that must be like next week or something. New equipment attributes combinations. Ritualist equipment provides a large increase to condition damage and vitality and a small increase to Handi and expertise. The combination is now available on all legendary items and select sources in End of Dragons content. The Dragon set, Dragon's equipment, provides a large increase to power and ferocity, and a small increase to precision and vitality, the one you mentioned earlier. Drakan, very nice. Superior Rune of Tormenting, the 6th piece, no longer heals you for each stack of torment you apply. It grants regeneration for 3 seconds. That is interesting. So this is all the new elite specs. I'm going to skip over all this, I think, simply because it's a lot. Yes, they're adding in all the elite specs. Actually, I'll read the little blurb, will I? I'll do the little blurb. So we start with Ellie. New elite spec, Catalyst. My power shapes and bends the world. They've revitalized ancient techniques for channeling elemental forces with a few modern improvements. They use Jade Tech spheres to create concentrated wells of immense power and augment skills within these wells for added effect. The weight of Tyria's fundamental magic behind every blow from their hammers. These allies are a steady presence in melee combat. New elite spec, the Mechanist. All systems go, mech cleared for launch. The Mechanist is a dynamic innovator, using their mechanical expertise and advanced Canthan tech to battle alongside a Jade mech of their own creation. Customize your mech and use it to crush your enemies. Together, you're unstoppable. The Willbender. I will silence the threat before Confessor. Willbenders are protectors of the Canthan throne, fated guardians to the Way No Su. That's the Ascended. The sword arm is as strong as their loyalty, unflinching and ruthless. They are known for a swift hand and unmatched swordplay, striking before their foe has time to react. Virtuoso. I imagine blades, you bleed. The Virtuoso foregoes traditional illusions in favor of psychic daggers, wielded by sheer power of the mind. Unleash a volley of sharp blades, then outwit your foes with a sharp mind. And now we have the Harbinger, my favorite. Volatile powers all at my fingertips. Yeah, I'm downloading it all as well, so I don't have to do it while playing. The Harbinger is a gunslinger and an alchemist, empowering their pistol and utilizing elixirs imbued with dark energies, but strength comes at a cost, and the Harbinger must balance on a knife edge between power and corruption. We have the Untamed, Unleashed, Unbound, and the rage of Echo Forest lives in us. The Untamed shares a primal bond with nature through their pet, juggling control of raw power back and forth to defeat foes. The pet uses debilitating nature-based skills to weaken their enemies, then it relinquishes that power to you for the final strike. The Vindicator. Once we fought each other, now we unite against a common enemy. The Kurziks and Luxons were bitter enemies, but their greatest champions, Saint Victor and Archimoris, united to help slay Shiro the Betrayer at the cost of their own lives. Hence the Harvest Temple being destroyed, and then of course their weapons later on were used to take him out once more. Vindicators call upon the strength of their legendary alliance, channeling both heroes' skills to devastate their enemies, protecting their allies. They use greatswords to deliver massive attacks and crush foes by leaping straight into battle instead of dodging. You're off, so you got to take care, Tina. Hopefully you enjoy the story, and she'll see you hopefully tomorrow for our first full End of Dragons live stream. Looking forward to that. The Blade Sworn. Concentrate and execute. Advances in Canthan technology have yielded a fusion of firearm and longsword, the Gun Saber. Only a dedicated, highly trained warrior can handle such a volatile weapon. Gun Saber attacks enhance the Blade Sworn's flow, allowing them to use their meditative dragon trigger. In this state of calm and concentration, they can load their Gun Saber with magically imbued cartridges that power up their attacks. Ooh, nice. So, I forget, they changed their launch, or their gem store stuff. I'm not sure if there's gem store stuff today. Nearly completed achievements now update immediately when filters are applied. Bounty effect systems, fire effect is particularly frustrating to fight. Okay. Magic Find is now capped at 7. I should not have spent on my Magic Find. How are we doing here? I want to look at the map before I stop streaming. They already did think. Oh, did you do the map already? Woohoo! Look at that! That is beautiful. Oh, I like it. Huh? Yeah, it's good. That is very good. That is lovely. Let's have a quick look at the map before I sign off and dive into the story for my own playthrough. I am very much looking forward to it. That is beautiful. I assume, Sergio, do you mean the map has been updated? The historical guide to Tyria might be updated? Historical. Is it? Nope. Okay. It's not. Already unlocked Wheelbender. I'll be doing that later. Here we go. Can, Mag, Tyr, Crystal Desert, Maguma, Cantha, and Tyria. Nice. I don't like the abbreviation, but... Oh my god, it's so far away! There's errors already. So we have Saitung Province, which is Xingje Island. We have the Guild Hall. We have... No, that's actually default. Oh, wow. We have New Kynan City. Old Kynan, of course, up here. Here's Arborstone. Here is the Echovale Wilds. And here is the Jade Sea, which are giving writs of experience for the launch date. That is hand. Wait, that's a material you can sell. You can store that. That's fascinating. And that just pans. That is actually kind of cool. That is very nice. Go to character. Go to where you're going. So they're going to need more of this later on, but yeah. Cantha is in the game. We are going to dive in. I'm going to leave the squad, Tina. I do apologize. We're going to dive in to Cantha. I can't wait. Thank you guys for dropping by for the pre-stream. I hope you enjoyed. And thanks for kind of helping me out with the camera. I'm going to kind of readjust now, put a book under it, grab a cup of tea or something, and dive in to Cantha. That is lovely. I love the birds in the background there. I should be pointing like here, shouldn't I? Look, the bird over that way. Yeah, Cantha coming soon. Thanks for dropping by. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more. We'll be back live with Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons tomorrow. I'll have a full playthrough coming up. I believe I'm going to do 2 or 3 episodes today, and then probably 2 or 3 episodes a day. I don't know. It seems like the gem store is going to be next week. I didn't actually look into that. Let's have a quick look at the gem store as I'm doing my outro. You can join the Discord. The link for that is down below. That'll keep you up to date with all things new on the channel, such as new videos, when I go live, and our weekly screenshot challenge every weekend in Guild Wars 2, which might be in Cantha this week. You never know. Though I might leave it for a week. I don't know. We'll see. You can also support the channel through the membership program on YouTube as well. The link for that is down below. If you're ever on Twitch, leave a follow if you enjoyed. I go live multiple times a week. Is there any new stuff in the gem store? It seems like they're doing the gem store update tomorrow, which personally I love. You know, you just dive straight into... Yeah, new character selection looks beautiful. You just dive straight into the story. Is there new stuff? New items. We're looking at the End of Dragons launch supply drop requisition. Red crane weapon choice, black line keys. We do have Canthan Spiritualist. Okay. Oh, expedition contract. So, we do have a demo to do as well. The redacted die kit. I don't know why it's redacted still. What are these, Sergio? Oh, the outfits. So we're going to have a big demo as well. I should probably do that first. Ooh, nice. Interesting. So we have the Spiritualist outfit, backpack glider, gold essence weapon choice, and total makeover kit. That's this one here. We have the supply thing, which gives us the expedition board. Oh, okay. But I want to show them all off today. 7 cents, 1400. Backpack glider. So yeah, 2400 for all this, which is the price of that. But that's slow. I'll be doing that next. Please use Char. I'm going to be using Asura at my main for my recorded playthrough. I will either be using Verazon, my Char, here, or Closhiphonic, my Silvari, for the stream playthrough. Haven't quite decided on that yet. Anywho, go to Quando. Thanks again for watching my pre-End of Dragons stream. I'm going to go do the demo and then play the expansion. Until next time, enjoy Cantha. Hopefully it goes well, and I guess I'll see you in Cantha, I suppose. Exciting stuff. Thanks for dropping by. Enjoy your playthrough of Cantha. And until next time, stay safe, take care. Good evening, I should say. Not good afternoon. I was going to say good night, but it's not good night. It's good afternoon. See you next time.